And we live, baby.
We are live.
On YouTube?
Yeah, we're currently live on YouTube right now.
I don't see it.
That table isn't aesthetically pleasing either.
No, we should get it out of here.
Stream
Which
center.
table? This one?
That's a lot of work.
Oh, I need to refresh. Connects. Oh, well, we need a streaming software. We don't have a streaming software to go live. There's got to be StreamYard or something going live.
No, that's what OBS is.
That's
Oh,
what
I
this is.
see y'all.
Come on.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where?
On YouTube?
On YouTube, bro.
But
I
how
told
do
you
get
we're
to
live.
it? The link?
Look at the link.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I see us too.
Bro, we are live, bro.
Bro, I
We
wasn't
are
playing when I said we're
live.
live, my guy.
I can't hear it though.
I just ordered some pizza,
You're right
fuckers.
behind the camera now.
What do you mean?
Can you hear me?
I am here.
Oh. It's hella
Oh, it's on a
loud.
delay. Perfect.
How's our audio?
I can hear it.
It's pretty good. That sounds pretty fucking good.
All you ninja watchers, go like right now. Go like the video. Subscribe.
Subscribe to the channel, you know. How
Ring
it is.
the fucking bell button, whatever that shit is, so you get notified every time we're on.
All right, so what's up, guys? What
Arthur
y'all?
said, yo.
What y'all do today, Jay? What you do today?
So, all right, so let's go ahead and introduce everyone. We got some new people up in the house, right? So,
Right.
I was subscribing to it.
Get off
listen,
your
this
phone,
is happening
bro.
live. You don't have to watch it on there, you know?
I was subscribing to the channel.
All right, go introduce yourself, bro.
My name is Louis.
How old are you, Louis?
Oh, we're doing like the whole thing again.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Oh,
that's all
okay.
we're gonna.
So my name is Louis. I'm 22 years old and I work at retail.
What do you retail?
What do you sell, bro?
Weed?
Animals.
Animals?
Yeah.
Why you so?
Pets.
Ah, pets. I thought when you said animals, I'm like, what?
Yeah, he said he's what kind of animals?
All right, my name's Rodolfo. I'm 22, about to turn 23. I work in sales. I sell pets, like dogs, reptiles, and stuff like that. And I am taken.
Had to make that clear.
My name's Emily. I'm 20 and I work at a restaurant that my cousin owns.
I'm Eddie, 21, do construction.
Hard working man.
Name is Jay. I work for one of the Fortune 100 companies. Do little side things as well. And Eddie and I are the host of your podcast.
And then we got the guy behind the camera.
Hey, can you adjust the camera just a bit towards me?
Which one?
The main one.
Here, I'm gonna go back it up. Give me a second.
Yeah, yeah. Back it up, Liver. Take care of it. Eddie.
This is how we move the couch.
And I'm Miguel. I should want
Yes,
to.
Yeah, Miguel is our guide. He does the cameras. He does the sound. He does it all.
A little bit of everything. Versatile.
If he takes as long to do it like he did today, we're gonna fire his ass. Get a new one in there.
Oh.
Like I don't want to be all shaky on there.
We good? All right. Good. So as the channel says, welcome to Ghetto Rig. As you can see, this is the whole thing is ghetto rigged. This podcast is for normal people, everyday people. We're not millionaires. We're really just an average people that get together and have
I
conversations.
think we can say we even below average.
Yeah, some of us are below average as well. Yeah, and that's okay because that's basically what United States is, right? Everybody's kind of in the middle.
Place of below average.
All right, so we got a couple of topics for today. Number one is I want to start controversial, right? I'm gonna say abortion. Abortion. Now I don't want to get political about it, but I want to start with that. Abortion or the whole birth control subject, right? So what y'all guys think about it?
So, I mean, I think it's been a pretty apparent, nowadays what is kind of like what the two sides are thinking of the story, and I'm clearly on the side of like pro-choice. Like I think that at the end of the day, we should have the woman should have the choice to abort the baby or not. And I do say the woman because I do also believe that like how the whole thing with how men can have multiple kids and women has to stick with that 9 months, all that has to do with that, but that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, that's just like a given. I mean, it's really crazy how they're like the whole Roe versus Wade thing, how the federal government felt that it was something that states should be able to take upon themselves, whether they allow that or not. That's really stupid.
Cool. Let's hear it from a girl.
I mean, yeah, I think you should have the right to choose whether you want to keep the baby or not. And I definitely feel like there's a lot of, I definitely feel like there's a lot of things that go into the decision. It's not only whether like, oh, I want this like in the future, whatever, but also like there's some people that like have certain like sicknesses or whatever that they can't necessarily go through the 9 months of pregnancy without risking their life or the fetus's life. So like they rather abort it,
Okay.
All right. So, I strictly believe in the pro-choice. I honestly feel like the women has to endure the 9 months, like Eddie was saying. So it should be up to them. Also, kids are a big responsibility, and some people are at a point in their lives where they don't need that responsibility. And there are some to argue, well, if they can't take the responsibility, they shouldn't be like fooling around or whatnot. But at the end of the day, we're all humans. We're gonna give in to the lust that we crave. And I do think if you aren't ready to have the responsibilities of a kid, you should use like birth control and stuff like that. That goes for guys and girls. But as to abortions in general, it needs to be strictly pro-choice, in my opinion.
Say
All
something.
right.
Say something different.
All right, so I believe it's a pro-choice because since everybody has the freedom to pick whether they want to do something, the girls should have their choice if they want to go through the whole 9 months to carry the kid and everything. So I feel like it is a pro-choice opinion.
All right. Cool. So it looks like the panel and my co-host here. Okay, go ahead.
Wait, I have a question for you. When you asked about the whole birth control thing, what was
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. I'll get to it. Okay. Why I said it the way I said it. So cool. So now I have a thing for you. So what if you're very successful? This is probably gonna go to the guys and the girl. She can definitely give her opinion on this. So you're a successful entrepreneur. You're well in 7 to 8 figures a year on your net, which means you're doing really well for yourself, right? You meet this girl, and you have sex. She tells you that she's on birth control. Okay, fine. And let's say you didn't use a condom, or you used a condom and it broke, whatever. And she gets pregnant. Now that she's pregnant, she's like, I'm gonna keep this kid. Not only I'm going to keep this kid, but you're going to have to pay for this kid. But you just met this girl. One day, you don't know anything about her. The only thing you know that she knew about you, she knew you made money. And then she got pregnant, and now she wants you to support the child for 18 months. Now, 18 years. Now, well, this is actually more than that. It's 19 years, right? Because she's going to probably want you to pay her bills while she's pregnant, take care of her while she's pregnant. So that's 9 months plus the 18 years, right?
Yeah, but you're not responsible.
Listen, if you want to be in a podcast, you can sit down.
Give me a second.
So, you're in this situation now. Now, do you have, as an entrepreneur, do you have a choice whether you want to have this baby or not?
is that a question for me or just in general?
Is your question for the panel?
Well, I personally believe that in that situation, all right. So in that situation, I feel like
these are some questions you get to think about, huh?
yeah. So in that situation, I feel like you really can't do much about it. Just go through it because that was you being irresponsible and you did what you did. You enjoyed it while you were doing the thing, and then she came out pregnant. So now you have to be a man and take care of the kid.
Yeah, but remember the whole Drake thing when the girl went back to the bathroom, picked up the condom, and tried to shove it back inside her? And then he had hot sauce in there, and then she tried to sue him by saying that he burned me or it was his fault. So this is what I'm talking about. This is the situation I'm talking about.
Yeah, but the situation you said, like the condom could have broke, like that was irresponsible for.
But it doesn't matter how she got pregnant. She got pregnant. That's the point.
Then if she just got pregnant, then that's still irresponsible from
who?
the guy.
That was
How?
still a consequence to his one night stand.
Okay, first of all, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Lynette, and I work in the medical field.
That was a what?
A consequence to his one night stand.
That was a consequence to his one night stand.
Yeah.
It was
He's
also a consequence
sleeping with
of
somebody
her,
that he doesn't know, so
it was
he's
also a
making
consequence.
that risk.
It was also a consequence of her one night stand. So I'm not saying that one party is responsible versus not responsible. I'm saying that they're both equally responsible. So if they're both equally responsible, they both equally should have a choice. So why does one party get the choice and the other party does not?
I agree
That's
with
the
you
question.
there.
Because
So-
the other party doesn't have to carry a child for 9 months. The other party doesn't. They have maybe more financial responsibility than they wanted, but it's financial responsibility as
18 years.
Okay.
18 years.
For 18 years, as somebody who's not maybe active in the child's life, who doesn't have to get up, take them to school, who doesn't have to make their work schedule follow the child's schedule, who doesn't have to make sure that they're being fed properly, that they're being clothed properly, that their emotions are being met, all of that, they're both suffering consequences. One of them is financial, and the other one is they're changing their livelihood.
So that's fine, but that's not the point. The point is about choice. So this woman made a choice for you to have this baby versus not have the baby. The idea is about the actual choice. When you say pro-choice, if it's pro-choice, I mean, if we want equal rights, pro-choice means that we both have a choice.
When you have sex with a woman you don't know, you have given up that choice.
But that woman, just as I had sex with me, she doesn't
And
know me
she's
either.
So can
going
I chime
to
in whenever?
Suffer her consequences as well.
She's not going to suffer consequences. She's going to be well taken care of because the
Well-
child support, we all know that it takes, what, $500 maybe to take care of the baby a month?
No.
Yes. How much you going to feed a little fetus or a little baby?
All right.
$500
Can
at
I
the
pull
most.
out my phone out? And
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
It's
So-
actually going to cost you $180,000 throughout the entire life of the baby, 180 grand to raise a child, or 200 grand, something like that.
What is that counting though?
That's since 0 to 18.
But I'm
That's
saying,
200 grand.
like,
That's that's
diapers,
counting. That's
everything?
food, clothes, this and this. This is
Well, hold on, because childcare, I can do the math in a second, but childcare alone is, at least where we're at, minimum for somebody, like, you're not dropping off at a random house that you don't really know, $250 a week. That's
fine.
childcare alone.
Fine, $250 a week. But some of these, if it's a rich guy, his child support is not going to be $1,000 a month. His child support is going to be at the very minimum up to $5,000 to $10,000 a month. We saw that with Brittany Rayner case where she wants 10 or 15K a month for child support, and she says, "I live in this house. I pay for the cable. He has to watch this. He has to watch that." So the problem happens here when you're making, depending on a state, when you're making X amount of money or more, these rules go out the window. So that's why I
So-
specifically gave the scenario of somebody that's extremely wealthy and they don't want that responsibility, nor they want to pay the money, right? So where's the choice here? Just because she was an incubator for 9 months, there are cows that are incubators for 9 months. There are a bunch of animals that do the same exact thing, right? So the point here is, if we're saying choice, one party has a choice and the other party has zero choice.
So I see what you're saying, and honestly, I do feel like in a world, men should be given the chance to opt out of child support, only because there are particular women out here who have the child to get the benefits of child support.
Now,
But how do
here's
you regulate that?
very
So
simple.
it's I
Very
feel
simple.
like
Guy says, I don't
ahead.
want this child. I'm not going to pay child support. And the court system says, okay, don't pay child support. This would make a girl think twice before hooking up with a millionaire just to get the child support to have this money. Because a lot of times people say child support, child support. There's average bums that don't want to take, they get together with a girl for a while, she gets pregnant, and they leave for whatever reason, this reason or that reason. But a lot of times it could be they're in a relationship, she decides 1 year into it, get out of it, because she's had it, but at the same time she wants her money.
But by doing that, now you're gone from anti-abortion to pro-abortion. Not just pro-choice, but you've turned something into pro-choice to pro-abortion.
I never said it.
How so?
But I'm saying if you
I've never said
eliminate, if you give the man a choice, right? And now women have to go to court to make him pay child support, which, I mean, they have to go to court anyways.
Correct.
But now the man has a choice to say no. And if the woman is in a certain position, you
Mm-hmm.
are now almost forcing her to have an abortion.
Well, then, so here's the thing. This is about that's what I'm saying. This is about accountability at the end of the day. So if you know you're in a certain position, so for example, if I know today my salary doesn't allow me to buy let's say a Bentley, right? If I go buy the Bentley, but I don't have money to pay for this Bentley, they're going to come and take this Bentley away. The same thing with a house. If I go buy their $2 million house, but only thing I can afford is a $200,000 house, that's what's called accountability and consequences. They're going to take my house away from me, whether I want it or not, because I cannot afford it. So if the woman, she cannot afford it on her own, and she decides to get pregnant, and so entrap a guy that's rich to make this money.
I see what you're saying.
Take away the child?
I'm not saying take away a child. All I'm saying is the guy should have.
You're comparing a child to a Bentley or a house.
No, this is the example I gave is one that all of us can understand. This is why I did that. It's not about the child equals to Bentley. It's one that everybody can kind of see because we go through this on daily basis, right? Like you have friends that had their stuff taken away from them because they couldn't pay for it, right? Because they made a bad decision. So I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong. All I'm saying is they both made bad decisions. Now, when you make a bad decision, there are consequences, and you have to take accountability for your consequences, right? But if that comes to level the playing field, then both parties should have some sort of a choice to decide whether I want to keep the baby or not keep the baby, right? So because this is what it comes down to. If the woman decides to keep the baby, has zero choice to say yes or no. If the woman decides not to keep the baby, the guy again has zero choice to say yes or no. What if the guy wants the baby? Do you see what I'm saying? It's not about just not wanting the baby. It's about wanting the baby as well. This is where the choice comes in, right? So what Roe versus Wade did, it said before that, women had the choice. Now, none of you have the choice. Before that, woman had the choice. Guy didn't have a choice. Now, in some states, neither one of them have the choice. Woman or the man. Do you see what they did there? So it's about actually having choice. If we are in what's called equal society, we should have equal rights, which we don't.
But here's the thing. A lot of women who are making that choice are not making that choice just out of financial stability. That choice is made out of, can my mental health make this? Can my body actually survive this?
No, you're talking
and you're
about...
taking away the
choice.
Not only, it's not just taking away the choice of the women, but now you're restraining doctors to perform medical necessities.
No, I never said that.
Out of fear of getting sued or being put in jail.
No, I never said that. So if there's an actual medical condition that fetus has to be aborted, then that needs to happen, right? I'm not against somebody dying because of that.
Yes,
now,
I understand what you're saying.
But what I'm saying,
Roe versus Wade, by overturning that, that's the consequence of that being overturned. Is now women's lives are being put at risk because of it.
Now, my point is this. The point that I'm arguing is it's for and against, which means that whether you want it or not want it. I could care less whether it's an abortion, this and that. I'm not bringing religion into this. This has nothing to do with religion. This has to do with an idea of choice, whether I want it or I don't want it, right? So it's not about aborting the baby or not aborting the baby. Does that make sense? So if the guy doesn't want the baby, he should have some sort of a say in it. If the guy wants the baby, he should have some sort of a say in it, just like a woman does. Just because she kept the baby for 9 months, and because if you take the person away, that's what it is. It's just an incubator to incubate the baby, to bring it to term, and then give birth to this baby, right? Right? So that's what it is. Let's call it spade a spade, right? So bottom line is the guy has zero choice.
He made his choice when he had sex.
So did she. So did she.
But in the example that you gave to like start this whole conversation up, you said it's this rich guy, whatever, and he's
Correct.
on a one night
Correct.
stand. Why is he trusting a girl that is a one night stand and be like, oh, she's on birth control?
You want a crazy thing? Rich guys that got it going on have one night stands.
Okay, but why would she trust that she's on birth control and, like you said, not use a condom?
Well, I mean, Drake did that, and then what did she try to do?
Okay, but like that's
Basketball,
an extreme.
National NBA Association sends out letters to all the players, use a condom, because there have been so many of these instances when girls will get pregnant specifically to extract money. Girl will get with a guy, gets pregnant, breaks up with him, or she will specifically get with an NBA player, high status guy, to get that. Now, girls are not chasing the bums that don't make any money and getting pregnant by them, and then saying, okay, you need to pay child support. This is specifically about the guys that are on a top level, right?
Yeah.
So if we can say they're on a top level, so it kind of trickles down to the rest of the society, right? Whether you're making money or not. In my opinion, you should have a choice whether to keep it or not keep it. Because if we're in an equal society, that means equality. Both of the parties get to say, I have a choice. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you call it what you want to call it. You call it your body. Whatever you want to do. Bottom line is there is no choice.
So you're comparing somebody's choice of money to somebody's choice of what they do with their body.
Correct, because my body had to go through a lot of shit to make that money. So I didn't just inherit this money. It didn't just come to me. For example, let's take a basketball player. Do you know that statistically it is a lot less possible for you to become a basketball player than a doctor, or a football player than a doctor, a baseball player than a doctor? You're more likely to become a doctor versus becoming a basketball player. The amount of stuff you have to put your body through to get to that level, the amount of stuff you have to put your mental psyche through to get to that level, I would argue is a lot more, not only time-wise, but more mentally draining than 9 months of pregnancy. Whereas 9 months versus a lifetime of training, trying to be there all the time, trying to show up every morning, giving up on everything in your life for years, since high school, since middle school.
Okay, but women
going through college.
Women do that too, plus the pregnancy.
Women do that in their daily life, right? Just like an average woman would do that in her daily life, just like an average guy would do that in their daily life. So if they're doing the same thing, equality.
Plus the pregnancy, not equality.
Plus the pregnancy is 9 months.
Plus
versus 18 years.
Plus the 18 years she still has the same 18-year responsibility.
Yeah, but she chose to keep the baby, not the guy. That's the bottom line.
But he chose to have sex with her. So
so she did.
Risk.
So did she.
That is a risk.
So did she.
Okay, but she's still making a risk. She's still taking the same risk. Maybe
Correct.
not money, but now it's her body. Like
What's
your
wrong
money,
with
your money,
okay.
and your body. Let's not even say women's body.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put this at a man's
It's not about
level.
the money or body. It's about the actual choice. It's the choice to be able to say, I want to do this or I want to do that.
It's the choice to be able to do what you want with your body.
It's the choice to do whatever you
want with
want
your
with
body.
your body.
Not with your wallet, with your body. Those
but
are
that's
two
not
different
that is
things.
not equality. They're not two different things. How is that two different things? Again, as I said, if I'm going through a lot of struggles, if I'm putting my body through, let's say, extensive training in case of the sports players, sports athletes, if I'm going through that, I'm putting
You
my body
still had
through a
a
lot
choice
more
to
to
do
make
that.
that money. And if she's out there just to get my money, right? Which in
Risk
a
you
lot of
took.
cases that happens.
Educated risk you took.
What educator is she? Did the same exact thing.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Lynette.
What?
So, if guys were given the chance to opt out of the child support, do you think so many women would be trying to have kids with so many guys?
Ding ding, and that's the
For
question.
instance, if you know a guy isn't going to stick around, would you even be open to the idea of having sex with them
Well, women.
at that?
I mean, this is a different level, but women are having babies with sperm banks.
That is true.
So
Then they
why
can
not?
go. They can go to the sperm bank and have the baby.
Are
and
the
then
people
good luck.
from-
Good luck putting a sperm bank on child
Yeah,
support.
that's what I was going to say. So
Who cares? That's
when
her
you go
money.
to the
She can do
sperm
whatever she
bank and
wants
you
in that
don't
case.
get child support, you are deciding that yourself. You're saying, hey, I want to have a kid. I know I'm not going to get any help. What he's saying is guys in regular situations on the daily should be giving the choice as well, as in like, we're both consenting to having sex.
Okay,
Neither of us consented to having a kid. You ended up getting pregnant. You ultimately have the choice whether to have the kid or not. I don't. But at least if I'm not going to get the choice to whether you have the kid or not, can I at least have the choice to not have to pay for the kid if I don't want it and you decide to have it anyways?
So you just said guys in regular situations.
Like everybody, guys and
Okay,
girls.
so that's a different level than what he's talking about. If you're gonna go as far as saying like NBA players that have put their
But
lives,
I have to
their
put
bodies,
it. I
or
have
whatever,
to put it in a perspective.
risk,
I have to
now
put
you
that
can
in a
talk-
perspective.
Okay, before I have sex with you, sign this contract.
Okay. Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, you could
They're
do
at
that.
that level, right?
So,
So
how
wait a
many
minute, wait a minute.
girls?
Let me
Go ahead, go
get
ahead.
this. So you're hooking up with a girl, everything is going well. You're kissing, you're doing this, you're touching, blah blah blah, whatever. And then like, stop for a minute. I need you to sign this contract. Where's the vibe? Go. Really, you would sign a contract? Stop. Put this cap on right now.
If you are that at that point in money, right? If you've got that much money, then
But let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
No. So if they made that a thing where guys can opt out of paying child support, do you think all those girls would be going to the NBA players to have sex and have
no,
kids
they'd
and try
have
to
to pay
entrap
for
them?
it more often. But
There you go.
That's what I
That's
feel like he's
another
trying to
thing
say.
for them.
So,
That's what I'm trying to
what I
get
feel
to.
like he's trying to make
Argument, case?
Yeah, his case is saying that girls need to be held accountable into like going into trapping a guy, and us having the opportunity to pull out will make them account for that, basically saying like, oh, I'm just gonna have sex with him to have a kid to trap him. Now that they can't trap him, it'll make them a little more accountable of who they're having sex with and having kids with.
So I think I could be completely wrong about this. I think what this has done, that's a free get out of jail card, right? So on average, the statistics are, and it's not the poorest people that are doing the abortions. 43 or 46% of the abortions are done by middle class women, right? Middle class women,
where
and
are
especially
abortion clinics the most?
especially more if they're educated. Middle class earners, or especially more if they're educated. And this is usually people that had one or two abortions. So if she had one abortion, most likely she had the second one as well, right? So it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with her body, this body, that, right? Like when it's convenient, she does it. When it's not convenient, she decides to entrap a guy.
you're
This is what it's
acting
for.
like
So
that-
it's like, I want to eat the cake and I want to have the cake and eat it too, right? Type of situation. I'm not going to have a baby with this guy because he cannot provide, but I will have a baby with this guy. And if he doesn't want to marry me or take care of me, I'm going to take child support from him so he can provide for
But
me
you're
while I
acting
can
like the
continue doing
child
what I want.
support, like she still doesn't have to go through raising a child, and it wouldn't.
Well,
make,
that again, that's her responsibility because she chose to do that. Again, those are the consequences and accountability that I'm talking about. These are the choices. These are very important choices that you need to consider prior to getting pregnant, right? And when you take the choice away from a guy that can say, hey, listen, I don't want this baby. I don't want the responsibility. But you're saying, no, it's not, you cannot say anything about it. You need to pay. It would be the same thing as if they came out to you and said, you're gonna carry this baby, but we're gonna take that baby away and give it to the father. What would you say then? That's exactly what you're doing right now.
Well, no, because the father still has, if he goes to court and he's paying child support, he still has all the rights to the child, right? He can still go spend time with
He
his
does,
child.
but he doesn't want to.
If
He
you
doesn't
do
want
it
to have
the other way-
anything. He doesn't want to have anything to do with the child. He doesn't want that child to begin with. He doesn't want anything to do with the child. He doesn't need that pregnancy or that child in his life right now or in 18 years. It's not the woman he wants to have a child with. It's the woman he wants to have sex with, but not a child with.
Well, then he shouldn't have had sex with her.
Well, that's-
Sorry, it's just that's the consequence to your action.
Well, see that you're adding a woman frame to what the guy wants, right? Again, and what I'm trying to say is,
Well, wrap
yes.
it up and put that shit in your pocket when you're done. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. If that's really how far you're willing to go, if you can't sign contracts, you take it home with you, that condom. I
So
mean,
this is
having
why-
sex has consequences. That's one of your
Correct.
consequences.
Correct. And both parties should be held accountable for it. This is my point. Not one party, but both parties.
Why are you saying women aren't being held accountable? They're now having
not.
to raise a child.
Yes, but they're extracting funds,
So I think he's
extracting funds for one night of fun time for 18 years.
I think he's using the fact that you guys can abort the child and basically opt out of having a kid as your guys' benefit, but we don't have that kind of benefit.
Correct.
So we're being held accountable for sleeping with you, but you aren't. That's what I think he's trying to say, or trying to make clear at least.
I mean, like, I get what the way that you put it now is like you have the option to opt out, so technically you're not being held accountable because you can just say, "Oh, I don't want it," and so that's it. Your accountability goes out the window, and you're good. But then again, even if she does choose to keep it because maybe she doesn't believe in abortions or her
Correct.
religion doesn't
Correct.
allow it or
Correct.
whatever the case
Correct.
may be, she still like has that consequence because maybe she went into it with the same mindset of, oh, I'm just gonna have fun, I don't want a kid, and then something happens, like maybe she was actually on birth control and
It just
you never
happened.
know. Yeah,
Yeah. it
But
just
do you
happened.
think?
And
go ahead.
if she for whatever reason doesn't believe in abortions or she's in a state where she can't get it, now she has that consequence and
Correct.
has no other option.
Well, those are the consequences. Again, as I said, like those are when you make that wrong decision, those are the consequences, and this is where accountability has to come in. Not to go out there and say, well, my choice, my body. Fine, it's your body. It's fine, but the choice should be for both. That's why we have choice to choose.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I believe honestly that guy should have the option to be like, oh, I don't feel like paying child support.
Correct.
And just not be in the child's life at all. Like, if you say that, you can never see the kid, you can never have contact, you completely...
That's
Yeah.
fine.
I mean, personally, I think that would be fine, but...
You think Nick Cannon would give a fuck? He's got 12 kids now. I'm sure out of those 12, at least one he doesn't want to see. Well, maybe he wants to see all of them. I don't know. I don't know. But the bottom line is that now Nick Cannon, who's a wealthy guy, is paying 12 different child supports. A basketball player, there's a wealthy guy, is paying 12 different child supports. So now we're at the high earner level, right? So let's take it down a bit. So this is a guy you just met. You don't know what he's doing. He could have just told you a bunch of sweet nothings. He could have said he's a CEO of this, CEO of that. You come to find out, he just makes, I don't know, an average salary, $50,000. $50,000 a year, right? And he's not making that money, but yet now you're gonna put him through courts, which it comes down to 25% of their earnings, right? So now, if this man lives paycheck to paycheck, which most of America does, right? If he lives paycheck to paycheck, now you take 25% of that. This man just lost his house. He lost his car, which most likely is going to lead to him losing the money that he's making right now. So now he has no way of paying your child support. And guess what happens when you don't pay the child support? You're locked up. So this choice that you made literally put somebody to jail. So not your 9 months could literally lead to somebody being in jail for years. So now you tell me, with your choice, how's that equal? Yeah, I know. When you put it in a perspective and you start talking logically about this, right? It starts making no sense, huh? I understand. Like, you got to get out of your feelings when you're talking about these things, right? Because these things are important.
A woman can choose not to get child support, though, right? Like, even if the person isn't in the life or whatever.
Yeah. A woman can choose not to do that, but let's say if the dad wants to be part of it, right? If the dad wants to be part of it, I think he should have the choice to see the child. And if he wants to be part of it, he should be able to pay for this child and see the child. But if he doesn't want to see this child and doesn't want to be part of it, he should be able to choose not to do that. However, right now, we don't have that right. And what Roe versus Wade kind of did, it equalized the playing field, where now in some states, the women don't have the choice.
So I have a question for you, Jay. So let's say in a situation where couples are together or whatever, maybe not married, but together, they decide to have a kid. They have a kid for 3-4 years and the guy walks out. Do you think child support should be demanded at that point?
So here's the common misconception. A lot of times, where actually girls bring this up because they have this. Well, what if he walks out, right? So right now, the statistic through U.S. Census Bureau is 80% of the
Women
all of
leave.
divorces.
I know,
80% of all the divorces are initiated by women. And
That's
before
because the man has already fucked up.
what? Say it again. Say it again.
Women leave once the man has already pushed the bounds. Women might be the ones who are putting in the actual divorce papers, but usually the one who has stepped out has already been the man.
Here, you ready? Because I've actually looked at the statistic.
Already stepped out in
you
one
ready
way or
for the
another.
actual
Women
data?
will put up with a lot before they walk away.
Are you,
And it might not be necessarily cheating. It might not be abuse, but they will put up with a lot before they actually
so
walk
you
away.
ready for the actual
So
data?
more than likely, she's already been through way more than just the divorce before she decided to sign the divorce papers.
So you ready for the data? The number one cause of divorce is irreconcilable differences, which basically means, in the layman's terms, money. That's literally what it is. It has nothing to do with cheating, with abuse. It literally comes down to money. She thinks she can find somebody better. She got tired of the guy. She doesn't respect him anymore, so she decides to leave, which is
Okay,
is her prerogative. She can do that. She can do that. However, 80% of the divorces are initiated by men, overwhelming majority. On top of that, it's irreconcilable differences.
Okay, but here's the thing: when you're talking about money with women and households and whatnot, when you have these irreconcilable differences, women have now. It's usually homes that are 50-50, right?
Correct.
She works, he works, but she works, he works. But he gets home from work too tired to do anything else, and now she does 100% of everything else in the home. So she's better off as a single woman. Not that she wants to find somebody else who has more money or anything like that, but she literally is a single married woman.
Okay, so now 2 things on this one. I'm going to give you another piece of data, and then I'm going to actually respond to that. Another piece of data is, if the woman, let's say, gets a promotion at her job and starts earning more than her husband or
Men can't
significant
handle
other,
it.
if she earns more, this is a very, very big indicator that this relationship is going to break down. It's not because men can't handle it. It has nothing to do with that. It has something to do with the woman making more money. When she makes more money, now because you are in a leadership position, you're no longer in a leadership position. So she looks at you as not in being in a leadership position. But that's hold on. To address your question, who chose that guy that only made that much money? Who chose him?
But here's the thing:
The woman did, right?
It's not that he only makes that much money, because if you're both making, like you said, American households 50,000 or 50 is
that's
like,
an average. That's
an
average male.
right?
That's average. Depending on a state, an average man makes, depending on a state, between 34 to about a 56, depending on a state. An average woman, I think, is between 28 to 46.
It's not that he's only making that amount. It's that he's only making that amount. Let's say they're making equal amounts, or she's making less or she's making more. That's not the point. The point is they're both working. They're both coming home tired, but he's sitting on the couch while she does everything else.
That's fine. I understand what you're saying. The point here is, who chose that guy? Who chose
but you
him?
don't necessarily know that he's going to be like that until you actually live with the guy.
What do you mean? So you don't date the guy? So you get married the next day?
No.
You can kind of see what he's making and how
a lot of guys live alone and know how to do everything when they live alone. But once they have a wife, they go back to how they lived with their mothers. And they forget how to do the dishes correctly. They forget that the floor needs to be mopped. They don't know how to do their laundry all of a sudden.
Again, who's so what you're saying
So
is
when he was
she
living
was
alone-
duped. She was duped.
Not duped, but
So wait a
men
minute.
fall into this.
Wait
Oh,
a minute.
that's a woman's job.
Wait a minute. Wait
Yes,
a minute.
I'll
So
do,
she
you
was
know what?
duped.
I will do all the cleaning, but I don't want to go to work.
So
50%
you're
of the
trying to
time.
tell me 9 months of you at the minimum, 9 months of pregnancy. I'm sure you're not getting immediately pregnant, right? So however much time you live with this guy, or we were going out and then live together, right? Let's say a year. You had a year to decide that he's not doing shit. And then after that, 9 months where you're pregnant, he's not doing shit. And after that, 2 to 3 years, he's not doing shit. Now, after 5 years, you decided you want to leave? Whose
Yes,
fault is it that you
because-
stayed in that relationship?
Because we put up with a lot before we decide to leave.
Well, maybe you shouldn't put up with a lot and leave
Also,
in the beginning.
men aren't gonna make. They just don't take the initiative to get the divorce papers.
What do you mean? Majority of men don't want to be divorced.
Hey,
Majority of men don't
I'm on the
want
guy
to be
side,
divorced.
and I think guys put up with a lot too sometimes.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm not saying they don't. Men don't put up with a lot. I mean, just this morning I was listening to the radio and they were talking about women when they're pregnant and their hormones and how they go absolutely crazy and can't even see their husband sometime. I'm not saying men don't put up with a lot.
So
But what I am-
men give up their actual sexual proclivity to the way men are to be monogamous with one woman, and then they go out and every day they wake up. Some of them go throw away trash. Some of them go late, climb up poles, put cables. And men are 4 times more likely to die at their job than women are. Men go through a hell of a lot. Men do usually physical labor, right? Men work really, really physically hard. When they get back home, now imagine have you ever seen trash people take out your trash? These guys are on those trucks, standing for hours, not sitting inside the truck, standing, stopping, grabbing a garbage can, putting it away, doing this, doing that. And we all know that men usually take up jobs as such, which are physically taxing, where women usually like to select jobs that have to do more with people rather than things, right? So it's more social work, more of an office jobs. When was the last time you saw a woman valet, right? Valet guys run around in a scorching heat of Florida, in a cold-ass New York when it's wintertime. Like, guys go through these things to bring money home and take care of their wife. And then wife one day wakes up and says, you know what? I'm making a little bit more money. I had to put up with you because you didn't mop the floor.
Well, here's the thing. We're not.
So I'm not
There
saying,
is
I'm not
a lot
complaining.
of-
It is what it is. I'm not complaining. It is what it is. I'm just putting it in a perspective, right? So you came home and you didn't mop the floor. You came home and you didn't put the dishes in a dishwasher. Bro, so what? He didn't do it. Pick up the dishes, put them in the dishwasher, push a button. He came tired after, let's say, 8 hours of
But she
laying
doesn't
bricks.
have the right to be tired.
She's also tired, but they're both tired. That's the
Yes,
whole point.
But
So again,
they're both
whose fault
tired,
it
but
is-
now she's the one doing 100% of the housework. And then sometimes, let's say you get married
Mm-hmm.
and both parties do 50% of the, not 50-50. I don't really believe in 50-50, but both parties are actively working in the household just like they're actively working
Correct.
at work. And then you have a child, and the man continues to actively work in the household and actively work at work. But now he's not, on top of that, he's not actively being a father. He wants to stay home. He does his chores, whatever, it's called chores.
Yeah.
And then he wants to go sit on the couch. She still has to be the one on top of what she was doing before, taking care of the child. Usually these are the things that lead to divorce.
Again, the bottom line is women are more nurturing than men are. So women's natural proclivity is to nurture babies. So we can try to do that. We can try to do that. This is one of the differences between men and women. We can try to do that. We will never be able to even get close to what you can provide to a baby. You can. There's a baby crying. How many times I've seen you guys pick up a baby and next thing you know the baby stops. Baby's crying. I go pick up the baby. He cries even louder. I want to kick it out the window.
There's a lot that you can do though when it comes to taking care of a baby rather than just holding the baby. Like, for example, throughout the night, most guys, when the baby's first born, they sleep. They might even go to the couch to be able to sleep and not get woken up every 2-3 hours when the baby wakes up.
Correct.
But personally, I think both of you should wake up. The guy goes and prepares a bottle while you try to calm down the baby, and then you give him the milk. You know what I mean?
No, if that's the case, so let's say that does happen, right? So in most cases, you know, in United States, that's not the case, but in a lot of the Western countries, women usually gets a lot longer time to be off from work, to be home to do that, right? So the guy, now some companies do allow guys to take that paternity leave, right? Whatever, it is what it is. But the bottom line is that the guy that wakes up in the middle of the night to do that, he has to go back to sleep and then wake up again at 6 o'clock in the morning and go lay bricks.
But there's some women that have to work too. Wow.
No, but he's saying the work is hard labor for us men.
Our jobs are usually
What
more
if it's in a
physically
case where
taxing.
both of them, it's physical labor?
Well, when was the last time you saw a girl that did physical labor?
My
job?
mom.
Well, that's one woman. But
My mom, my aunt, my other aunt, that they all work in the same
so
place.
I'm not talking about the people that you know. In general, women usually choose jobs that have to do with
a
people.
lot of people don't have that choice.
A lot of people, but those people are statistically insignificant. They're a very small minority of people. Majority.
There's a lot of guys in office jobs too, though. If you want to look at it
Well,
like that.
Correct. There are a lot of guys in the office jobs as well. That is absolutely correct. And those guys are doing whatever they got to do.
The majority of girls and majority of guys, more of a girl, the girls tend to go to more of a mentally draining type of job, and the guys go to like more of a physical draining type of job.
What mentally draining job are we talking about here?
He's
you know
saying
what
like
happens?
sitting at an office, answering a bunch of phone calls, doing
And
emails, whatever. That's mentally draining, not physically draining.
Yeah, and men do that too. However, you don't see men complaining about their job. So this is what it comes down to. This is what it comes.
That's absolutely not true. We all complain.
I don't ever complain about my job.
Well, that's because you.
Then if you don't
that's
complain
'cause
about your job,
you
that
don't have
means
a wife or somebody to really complain to yet.
No, not because of that. Because I understand that men have to do things that we don't like to provide for our loved ones. I understand that. A girl can afford to say, you know what? I want to be a singer, yet she has zero voice. I want to be a painter, yet she doesn't know how to paint. As long as she's pretty, she's good, right? We're guys, we cannot afford to do that. We have to do things that we have to do in order to earn money. We have to earn this. We have to earn this, whether you want it or not. And this is why majority of men go out there and do things. The reason we can sit here and have this podcast, have the lights on, have this building is because a bunch of men got together and built this shit.
So, I've worked both kind of jobs, and it's kind of weird. Like, I was working at Best Buy, and in reality, I could have made the same money that I'm making now. Not really like, money difference between Best Buy and construction. It should be.
Should be, right?
There
Because
should be.
construction is hella taxing, isn't it?
Yeah, but motherfucker. I don't know. Blanca's watching. Randy's watching. Yeah, motherfucker.
yeah, you work
the
in an
difference
office.
between the two is a
The comment.
it's a different kind of draining.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. So who was commenting?
It says, why the dude look like he backslashed woman for burning the toast. That must be about you. Somebody, Bob the Builder is the name of the account.
Bob the Builder, why?
I think they're talking about Jay.
That's one of I 100%. I'm pretty sure that's one of the friends. That's one of my friends from Discord. I'm almost sure of it.
Why do you backslash? Okay, that's the dumbest shit comment I've ever heard in my life.
I know why he just got
That's
on
the
here trying
dumbest
to
comment.
roast people.
Bro, IQ level is smaller than the bottom of my shoe. Huh?
All right, let's get back on topic, guys.
I'm gonna bash him. I don't give a shit about them. So the bottom line is, yes, I do work in the office, and I've worked really hard to get where I work. Right? I've done a lot of work.
So you
to
don't
get where I need to
complain
go.
about your job?
Huh?
So you don't complain about your job?
No, never.
So you like going to your job every day?
It's not
Like
whether I
a-
like or I don't like. This is something I have to do to earn money.
Well, everybody has to work, but they still complain about it. That don't mean
Yeah,
that they're
and
not gonna
I
do
don't
it, but
agree
they
as a-
still
I don't
do
agree
it.
as a guy. In my opinion, as a guy, you shouldn't complain about the job that you do. And if you're complaining about it, do something and make more money.
I mean, you don't
Get better.
necessarily gotta complain because you're not making money. You could just complain because it's just not something that you're
See, but
wanna be in.
you complaining is not going. You complaining is not.
Yeah, it's not gonna fix anything.
correct. That little thing is that girls can do that, and that's okay if they do that. I have no problem with them complaining about their job. Zero. They can. The girl should be able to do whatever she wants and whatever she wants and how she wants it. Except, here's the thing: just like she has standards, I have standards. Doesn't mean I have to deal with those standards that
Yes,
she has.
just like if she can't, she don't have to deal with your standards. You don't have to deal with hers.
Correct. And this is exactly what I'm trying to say. This is where the whole accountability part comes in where, would they both work 50-50? So who chose that guy? Again, goes down to the same thing.
The
what I was
same
trying to
girl.
say.
Because at the
See
end
what
of the
came a
day,
full circle?
at the end of the day, the girl is the one that chooses the guy in most situations.
Well, no. So yes, basically it's the girl's, in my opinion, it's the girl's place to want the relationship. She has to ask for a relationship,
Yeah.
not the guy.
Because once the girl shows the sign that she wants
have
a
one
relationship,
job.
you chase her.
You have one
be
job.
in the
And if
relationship.
you did that one job, it's her choice now. It's her place to say whether she wants the relationship.
Yeah.
So if she wants that relationship, and she gets into that relationship, and then later down the road she decides this relationship is not for her, so whose fault was it? Do you see how this makes sense? How 2 + 2 is always 4? It's never 5 or 3.
Could be 6.
Do you see what I'm saying now? Does that make sense?
10 is 21
And this is not just my opinion. There's a bunch of data that supports this as well. Like there was a study done by Lyft. I don't know, about 5-6 years ago. I was reading about it. So the Lyft came out and they crunched up the numbers and between female drivers versus male drivers, right? And they found that on average, men drive much faster. Sometimes they speed, they break rules, right? However, they put a lot more time into driving. Where women drive a little bit more safer, right? So they take less trips, thus they make less money, and on top of that, they work less. So that was a Lyft data, right? That's just from Lyft. And then there's also another thing. How many girls have you ever seen in construction where they're laying bricks? Never. How many girls you ever seen welding? Never, right? How many?
That's
girls
absolutely not true. Not never.
Well, the percentage of them doing that is such a small percentage. Is it even worth counting at this point? Yeah, there's one girl out of 100,000 that does it. Out of a 10,000
No, it's not
that does it.
110. No, it's not that much.
Okay, out of a 10,000.
No, it's still not that much.
Okay,
Seen plenty
there's
of-
one out
I've
of
seen-
10. There's 1 out of 10.
No, I would say even less than that. But I've seen plenty of girls, even girls my age, girls older. So I saw a girl. They were ripping out a stump one time for a tree, like
Yeah.
the stump.
How many
thing.
guys were
He
around
hit
her?
it right in the ribs.
How many guys were around her?
Well, she was with a guy, probably. Yeah.
So how many guys were around her?
He's saying for the one person that's doing that, how many guys are like around her doing the same kind of
How many guys are in that
4,
company
3,
versus a
4.
girl that's actually doing that? So in that
I
example,
understand what you're saying.
just in that example, 25%, only 25%, right? So but my point is, they choose different type of jobs.
Alex Wright said you're wrong.
Who said that? Well, then put the statistics up, my friend.
But wrong about what though?
Yeah, I'm not knowing what he's talking
Gotta be
about.
more
You
specific.
can put the statistics up. So my point here is that we choose different jobs, and that is completely okay. You should be able to do whatever you want to do. Bottom line, you should be able to do whatever you want to do, but without consequences, whether you're gonna make money or you're not gonna make money, right? Yeah. This is where I'm at. So if you don't, as a guy, you don't like your job, well, guess what? Go get a better job. Start making more money because you're definitely not gonna get any girls. I'm just telling you.
What's your prerogative here? Like, I don't understand. Like,
No, the conversation led here. It was no
I
prerogative.
I know, but I'm saying like I wasn't here for the first half of the conversation, so I don't
No,
really understand the base.
we're talking
I
about.
get you're arguing about jobs and stuff and
The
how
whole
we
thing-
do
the
more
whole thing
physically
started-
demanding jobs, but
The whole thing started with
It started.
adult
It
folk.
went from abortion, then
I know,
from
but
abortion
after
to
the
taking
abortion,
care
I-
to taking care of the baby, like the house rules and stuff like that, and then it went into like how guys work hard labors and girls usually don't, And she was, because he brought up the statistic how 80, 90% or whatever, 70, 80% of women leave in marriages and la-di-da-di-da. So it went from there to the jobs, and then
What's the argument?
The argument was this, that Lynette was saying that sometimes in these relationships, they both come home and the wife is stuck doing the house chores, right?
Extra work.
100%, and the guy sits on a chair, and this is why these divorces happen. However, the reason the divorces happen is called irreconcilable differences, which means it has to do with money, not has to do with chores, right? So that's completely wrong. So number two is like, okay, well, he sits, and then from here I said, well, majority of the time guys do jobs that are more labor intensive and more taxing versus where the girls do the job.
On the argument of if a guy should be doing chores and homework because of the kind of work he does is more demanding, I think that's bullshit.
Why?
Because I've done both kinds of work, and yeah, maybe I'm more physically tired when I get home from construction from when I was at Best Buy, but I'm still fucking tired.
But tell him you're the fucking man. You gotta fucking. No, it's fine.
I'm still tired.
Didn't you say that your construction job should pay you more than what Best Buy does because you get a lot more tired with your construction job?
No, because I require more skill.
Alex said you were wrong about the women in hard labor.
Well, Alex,
that's exactly what I'm telling him.
Give us the data then.
Wait, no, not data. I'm telling you that because I know I worked those hard jobs before, right? And then I've worked at Best Buy that I'm just standing there talking to people.
Yeah, but see, the thing is...
And the reason I want to get paid more is because I think the pay difference, because it requires more skill, knowledge, experience to what I do in construction than it was at Best Buy.
So there's overwhelming statistic on this, right? There's overwhelming statistics. There's several books that you can read that describe this exact same thing that I'm talking about. One of them is The Desire of the Choice by David Buss. You can read that book. There's another one. There's a Dataclysm book. There's Abe That Understood the Universe. There's a bunch of books that you can read that people went out, not just to the local Home Depot, but they've actually sat down and done research and done polls, right? And they came out with this data. It's not data that I just made up in my head. This data actually exists.
Alex Wright said, "Get off incel chat rooms."
Get off incel chat rooms. Alex is a troll. Very good, Alex. Thumbs up.
That's my boy.
I'm still waiting on that data, Alex. So maybe you should get on some books then, huh, my friend?
Doesn't really come that way. Okay. No, it's not gonna do that, man.
So the bottom line.
I'll let you. I was gonna say I'll let you jump out.
So the bottom line is it's not something that I'm saying. It's not something I'm saying. There's data.
So
There's actually hard data.
I just did a quick search,
Uh-huh.
real quick, and I'll let you have the mic. I just did a quick search while I was off the camera, just to look up, and irreconcilable differences for divorces is number 6. Just saying.
What's number 1?
Infidelity.
Okay. Well, then I'm wrong in that case. I'm gonna look it up again then.
Okay. Anyways, Eddie had a point.
So working the 2 different jobs, I know. And just because I'm working that harder job, I don't think that gives me the right to get home and tell her, no, you should do all the laundry, the dishes, sweep the house, and I'm going to go sit on my ass and nap or play video games or just maybe watch the kids and not do nothing.
Well,
because I was laying brick versus her sitting down all day. Maybe she does a little more, and maybe some days I do a little more. But that's sacrifice.
First of all, if you could have come home and sit down and play video games, I think you shouldn't really do that. In my opinion, as a guy, you should completely forget your video games and then do something to better yourself.
Bro, that wasn't the thing. And
So
don't hate on my video games because you watch podcasts, you watch a movie? You like watching movies?
Not really.
You like sitting down and hanging out with the boys outside like we do now?
Yeah.
That's what I do with my games. I hang out with the boys. I don't play single player games. I go and I sit. And those boys, Alex, Bob, all those boys, those are my boys.
I understand that, but I can see the thing is in my life I'm in a place where I can sit down and hang out with my boys because I did work a lot and I got to where I need to go.
We don't have this option because they're Tennessee, they're in this and they're in that. And our way to sit down and play, and we instead of playing a board game, we play Call of Duty.
And I get that.
That's me for gaming.
But the bottom line is this: let's say you're married, you're living with your girl, right? You have bigger responsibilities at this point. In my opinion, if you have a family, you do everything to support and take care of your loved ones, which is your family, and then if you have children, your children. So you go out there, you bust your back, and you do whatever is necessary to earn and bring back and give a roof over their head.
Right.
Number 1. So number 2 here is, if you do all that and you do come home and if you are tired In my opinion, your girl should pick up on it and say, I know he's tired. He works really hard to provide for our family. He does this, X, Y, Z. And so what that he put the dish in a sink as opposed to putting it in a dish machine? I'm just going to do that. So what?
I do
Because
agree.
at the end of the day, the
I
reason
agree
you're
with that.
going
What
out
exactly
there,
exactly what you just said there. I agree with.
Yeah.
But what you were saying is that he has to do it because he worked that job. No, she's helping because he doesn't feel he's tired in that time, and she wants to make up for it. That's different.
so again, and we're coming back again a full circle. I'm talking about the whole entitlement idea. Well, I work, I make money, and you work, you make money. We should be equal and should be 50-50. That doesn't exist. When was the last time you seen a country that had two presidents or a company that had two CEOs? When was that? It doesn't. It's not. That's the whole thing. It's not. Somebody has to be a leader in that relationship. And I can bet you can ask your girl, you can ask your sister, you can ask any woman in your family, any woman that you know. Majority of them, overwhelming majority, gonna say, I want a guy to be the leader. I want the guy to lead, right? And if they switch the roles and now woman leads, that's a very good indicator that this relationship is going to go towards the divorce, because women are not designed to lead. The majority of women like to be led. This is not what I'm saying. This is just data. They like to be led. Are there some A-type personality women that like to lead? 100%. There are several CEOs of companies that do that. They do. These women exist. Yes, but overwhelming majority of women like to be led. They want a leader. They want a guy that leads. You can't take that away. So when you stop earning money and you make less money and now you cannot lead the household because now she cannot trust you with decision making, guess what's going to happen? A divorce. All I'm saying.
Next topic.
Yeah, of course.
So, what you said about, yes, a woman should understand he's tired. Okay, let me pick up the slack. But the difference is when we're talking about why these divorces happen that end up being for this reason, is he never says, "Oh, she's tired." That's usually why if it's gonna be for those reasons, that's usually why a woman has reached that point.
Yeah, but see, this is the small thing that you're missing. The reason he gets up every morning and goes out there and lays bricks. The reason he gets up every morning, go out there and works as a plumber. The reason he gets up and works there as a trash man. The reason he gets up and goes digging ditches and gutters. The reason he climbs up the electric poles, pulls cables, is because he cares about his wife and he wants to take care of her.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I'm not saying that you're
He's
wrong.
not doing that because he wants to do it. He's
doing that because he needs to have a job to survive.
He has a duty to his wife and his family. Majority of men have a duty. And this can be proven by any time something bad happens. Majority of men will jump in front of the bullets to protect women and children that are not only that they're their wife or their kid. Men will jump in front of a bullet to protect a woman, a strange woman. We're naturally have that in us. This is a part of evolutionary psychology. You can't take that away from guys.
Yeah, you're taking away from the point. If the man lived alone, he would go to work, lay his bricks, come home and take care of his household because he has no choice.
Correct.
But then when he's with a woman, he decides that he no longer has to do that.
But then you forget that we men, when we live really, really minimalistic. There's not a lot of guys.
But you still have to do
there's not
laundry. You still have to
You
take
do.
care of your dishes.
You
You
do.
still have to wash your bed sheets.
You do.
That stuff
You want
needs
a
to
secret?
happen either way.
You want a secret? Majority of guys will wear the same shirt until it smells. And that's only when they wash it. Do you see what I'm saying? Men and women don't operate on that level the same way. The house, right? The guy builds the house. Lady moves in, a girl moves in, and she makes it a home.
Mr. Tate
Do you see
Jr.
what I'm
over
saying?
here, Alex Wright said money has nothing to do with leadership. And then he also said, where are your sources that women like to be led?
Read David Buss's book about desire. He's the most prominent evolutionary psychologist in the world right now from Austin, Texas. Read that book, my friend. There's a whole bunch of things. And then if you want to know a little more, you can go read The Dataclysm. And then you can go read Ape That Understood the World. There's many books. We got Sad, any of the Got Sad's books, you can read that too. Educate yourself, my friend. Enlighten. Knowledge is power, not just your opinion. So the bottom line is,
But you're talking about this knowledge about like statistics, right? Why
Correct.
these things are happening over time,
I can explain that too.
right? Okay. But why these things happen and why reactions happen doesn't make it fucking right.
Correct. It doesn't make it right. Humans are irrational. There's another book for Alex. This is for you. Another book, Thinking Fast and Slow, by what's his name, by Kahneman and Tversky. A great book to read, about 1,200 pages, I think. It's a nice little long read for you, but I don't know with your IQ level if you'll be able to handle that. But so
No
yeah.
hating necessary.
So
No
human-
hating necessary.
Yeah, don't hate him. It is what it is. He tried to hate me. I'm just coming back at
Yeah,
him. He
they
thought he
hate.
Controlled. He
They
thought he
hate.
controlled,
They
but
can
there's
hate,
bigger
bro.
trolls that sit here.
They can hate. You
Yeah.
can't hate.
Yeah, but it is what it is. So all I'm trying to say, humans are irrational, right? So there are differences in our choices. There are. Men think one way and women think another way. We're just different. We're biologically different. As humans, we have the same exact rights. As humans, we have the same exact rights. But biologically, we're completely different. The way we move and the way we do things. There's a reason that you can bust nuts till the day you die, but women can bring a term only one baby in 1 year, right? We're completely different in the way we're designed, and thus our psychology through evolution is completely different. This is why, as I mentioned earlier, guys will jump in front of a bullet where women will not. This is why guys go through extra lengths, such as, oh, girls like this type of a haircut, so everyone in a city has that type of a haircut. Girls like Lambos, so what do guys try to do? They buy Lambos. We as guys would literally, majority of guys, what they do is they mold to what women say. Why? Because at the end of the road, what? Sex, right? That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. This is what it all comes down to. Well, it is what it is. Like you're asking, why are we the way we are? It's because of evolution. This is how we develop.
That's not what I was saying.
So what were you saying?
So we're talking about like being even, being fair in a sense, trying to at least.
Yeah, and we are.
Yeah.
I think we're completely fair and completely even right now.
But
I can't think
some
of a
of
single
your-
thing. I can't
some
think of
of
a
your-
single thing that women can do that men cannot, and I cannot think of a single thing that guys can do that women cannot.
Guys can be shirtless outside and girls can't.
Guys can be take your shirt off.
girls can't. They'll get arrested.
I mean,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, in United States, yeah, but then you take any other Western world, majority of Europe, which is how many countries is that? I don't even know. It doesn't matter. But the point is, you can be shirtless in Europe on a beach. Nothing wrong with that.
On the beach.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. How many guys do walk around shirtless? And when they do walk around shirtless, everybody kind of looks at them crooked. Like, why are you shirtless?
Yeah, but they have the right.
They have the right. So do women. All I'm trying
They
to
don't
say.
have the same right. Across the board, they don't.
So
We're
listen,
talking about a very small
we're-
portion of the
literally,
world.
We're arguing about whether women or men can walk around without shirts, but yet the whole idea of the conversation was started with having a choice, whether you want to keep the baby or not keep the baby. This is somehow,
That was an hour ago.
you know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is like you're bringing up these trivial, nonsensical arguments about, oh, girls cannot walk around without the shirts. That makes no sense. Really? What girl wants to walk around without a shirt on?
Believe it or not, a lot.
Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. This is just, they want to say, I can do it. They're not necessarily going to
Bro,
do it. There's a big difference. Does any girl that you know wants to be a hoe? No, most likely.
You have a view on the society that the majority of what
This is not my
humans-
view. This is not my view. I'm just telling you, this is from, again, we can go back again to Gatsad, David Buss. These are the guys that are putting out, this is not my view.
Never mind.
That's what I'm saying. This is
No,
not my view.
I'm just forget about it.
I just report
I don't even
this.
want to say it. It's
All
just
right, next topic. Exactly. Hold your L's, damn it.
No, it's not that. I'd rather not argue with you about it.
Exactly, hold your L.
So Rodolfo, are you playing that? The cruise?
Censorship.
Have you
Let's
played
talk
the
about
cruise yet?
censorship.
I'm gonna try, man.
Let's talk about censorship. Everyone know what censorship is? All right. What do you think about censorship?
What do you mean? Like what we should be able to say or not say?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everybody deals with their own consequences. So if you're gonna open your mouth and say dumb shit, you'll deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna deal
are
with
you
it.
asking about censorship as in
Censorship
like
being
saying
canceled.
no, I know saying
That's
things
what
on
I
like
mean.
certain platforms and stuff like
Yes.
that?
Yes.
So, I mean, I agree that whoever created a platform should have a right to have his users use it how he wants it to be used. For instance, if you're on Facebook and they don't want you posting nudity,
Correct.
that should be correct because it's their platform, they created it, and if you're not going to abide by their rules, get the hell off.
So that's cool. I understand that. Now, so if the overwhelming majority, which there's still a big population in the United States that is religious,
Okay.
again, bringing back to abortion topic, if they don't want
I agree,
to
Angel,
hear
for the nipples.
about the abortion, but yet those things stay on Facebook, is that okay? So
I agree with Rodolfo. It's like how the whole thing we were talking about with Brittany Reiner about how she got arrested because that was against the law there, right?
Which part? I don't know about this. Tell me more.
The Brittany girl with the we were talking about how she got arrested because she had the CBD cartridge in Russia. Was it?
You're talking about Brittany
Griner?
Griner.
Griner. So yeah, that girl, right? Because she got arrested, she wasn't supposed to be doing that in that place. Those are the laws, right?
Yeah, but she didn't get canceled. She got arrested. but she didn't get canceled.
Listen. I'm giving that as an example. If
I'm talking
they
about
know they
canceled.
shouldn't be, if they know they shouldn't be talking about that on that platform, why are they doing it?
Now, if you're asking, listen, if you're asking
They
how
can't-
Andrew
get off
Tate
the platform.
got canceled, because I don't know if that's what you're
necessarily
referring
Tate.
to.
It's not just Tate. There's a bunch of
Okay,
people. that
well,
got
people
canceled.
who are getting canceled for just trying to spread, I guess, the red pill thoughts, and they're not really breaking the guidelines, then no, because then I feel like they're picking and choosing based off their own opinions. Like if you create a platform and you say, hey, these are the guidelines, if you break it, we're going to take down your video or cancel you, then those are the guidelines. You should abide by them. But if they're just going to start picking and choosing who they want to cancel because they're saying maybe certain things they don't want them to, but they're following the guideline, then it's kind of like, damn, then it's a different story in my head. But I mean, if you're not abiding by the guidelines they set, then they have every right to cancel you off their platform.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
I said if you're not abiding by the guidelines they set for their platform, they have every right to cancel you.
So that's true. However, the guidelines, a lot of times what will happen, these people have to hire lawyers and then argue back that these are not guidelines. So these guidelines are so the cancellation doesn't happen, but there's not a person sitting there and saying, okay, I'm gonna read this and then cancel it. These are bots that are doing that. So if you program a bot to cancel only certain type of thing, it doesn't make the distinction between the other one, right? So you program it to cancel this specific thing, and it cancels that specific thing. It's not a person that does this, right? There's no board review. You can contact Facebook, you can contact Instagram, you can contact Google, try to get a hold of their customer service and try to see why they cancel you. Good luck trying to do that, right? So the bottom line is, let's say there's
A lot of people get
a lot of
banned
people, they get
and
emotional
get their
about
accounts
something.
back.
They get emotional about something and they decide to report something as nudity or this or that, and now your post getting canceled, taken down because they got reported as such, not necessarily what you were saying, but as such. And you get enough of those, you get canceled. So here's a thing that happened to me. I got a video clip that was on Facebook, and I sent that over to my friend. It was on actual Facebook.
Sure.
I sent 2 video clips to him. 2 days later, I couldn't access my Facebook, get on there for I think 72 hours. Sure. I don't even remember what the clip was about. It had nothing to do with nudity. It had nothing to do with anything. So these clips were taken down, and I was taken down along with
You
it.
sent it to him
Through Messenger. Through Facebook Messenger. I didn't share. I didn't comment. I didn't like. I just sent it over. It was something funny. Send that over, and my Facebook got shut down for 72 hours. For no reason. Do you see what I'm saying? I have a couple of friends that are no longer on Facebook because they were sharing things. Now, I'm not not trying to get political here, right? They're sharing things about Trump. There are a lot of people that like Trump, and there are a lot of people that dislike Trump, right? It's not about whether you like him or not like him, right? So there are a bunch of people that were talking, let's say, bad about Trump, and there are a bunch of people that are talking good about Trump. The ones that were talking bad never got canceled, but the ones that were talking good, a lot of them don't have their Facebook accounts anymore because they would post or share something like that. Now, there's the morality issue, whether you should do that or not do that. The point is not that. The point is that these platforms are deciding what you should see and you shouldn't see, right?
So I understand what you're saying, and what I think they should do is there's different platforms for whatever media you want to consume.
Correct, but if you want to be vocal,
but you with these arguments, you have now what do I want to talk about? What about the argument of white nationalism? You think that the Nazis should be able to have their voice on these platforms as well?
absolutely not.
Okay, then.
Absolutely not. But we kind of, as humans, understand what is right and wrong. Like white nationalism that calls for killing of different races, like that's kind of like
yes,
we all have a human right to live.
I understand that.
Right?
But right now, left and right arguments are also about that, like the abortion thing. Not to get back about that, I'm just giving an example. Now, right now, we have our news outlets that are years old, a lot older than social media, and they've already learned this. They got to pick. We're left or right. You don't see the Democrats watching Fox, bro. You just don't. So just get the fuck off Facebook. Stop complaining. It's like he was saying. They have a guideline. Follow the guideline or fuck off.
So follow the guideline. But the thing is, where is the guideline exists? But either one of us read the guideline. Do anyone know what the guideline is?
The guidelines are.
You're right.
That's
You're right.
what I'm trying to say.
And there is no.
And the guidelines, they're not written in a way that you can understand.
And there never will be. And they never will
correct.
be. And the same thing with the news. The news outlets don't give you a guideline to what they're putting out. No, they just put it out.
No, the news outlets are a little bit different. They're looking on the viewers, right? Like they're targeting a specific demographic.
Who views
exactly? Again, you can look up the data is there. When you give the both sides of the story, people don't like that because people like to be opinionated and their emotions usually take over. They don't want to look at both sides of the coin, right? What I'm proposing is to look at the both sides of the coin and then decide that the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's not to the left, it's not to the right, right? This is what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't cancel white nationalists. They absolutely should be canceled. I'm not saying don't cancel men that go out there and talk shit about women. Cancel those motherfuckers. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you're coming out there and saying, listen, I want male improvement, right? I want you to go out, get up every morning, go out there, work, do your thing.
I agree.
And make money. You shouldn't be getting canceled for that because you're proposing toxic misogyny or masculinity.
Can I just please? I'm devil's advocate here.
Go ahead.
They're the other side, bro. That's just how they view it.
Correct.
And they think that that's their right. That's their human right to do it that way. Whatever topic we're talking about, that's just what they think they're allowed to do and how the world should work. And so that's how that platform is going to be driven. So you're saying Facebook, right? Clearly Facebook is promoting Biden, Bernie Sanders, all these fucking guys on that side. So now I'm a Trumper. Okay? Just like you have the option on the news to view Fox News as a Democratic person, you're going to have the option to view it on Facebook. But now Web 2. So now you have the option to post about it. That's different. Now you're sharing your views on that platform when that platform isn't for that.
So here's the thing that I'm saying. When you have...
Do I agree with it? No, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no, I get that. You have billions and billions of subscribers. You have a lot of influence, right? The same Facebook got sued for selling your and my data.
Yeah.
They got sued for that. And then he went out there in front of the Congress, had to talk, right? But yet Facebook continues to exist, right? There were no guidelines were enforced on that, what they can do and cannot do. There were some enforced where you cannot sell the data. Do you think they're not selling the data? They're continuing to sell the data. Big data is the number one money-earning vehicle right now, right? Big data. The reason it's, a lot of people have the misconception of like, oh, we talked about toothpaste. Now I have toothpaste that's coming up on my phone. It's not because of that. It's the data tracks. Right now, big data, the applications such as Facebook, they track all of our phones are within the same vicinity, right? So whatever he looked at, now data makes correlations with that. It says, okay, well, they must be friends. Whatever he looked at, that means you and you are more likely to be interested in that. He might have looked at watches and he starts talking about watches because he's interested in about watches, right? But it's not because your phone heard you talk about watches. It's because he looked at watches 2 days ago, and because he looked at watches 2 days ago, now watches are going to show up on your feed and they're going to show up on my feed.
I have an argument against that. I do believe that these apps and organizations use AI
Correct. 100%.
to, and they have access to your microphone. So if you have Facebook open right now as in your background and it has access to your microphone, it's listening. And I do believe that some of these bigger places like Facebook, Instagram, which is the same shit, Meta, right? But Twitter or the big ones I really think are like Amazon,
So
Walmart, stuff like that, where you get the ads and like, oh, suggested this, what you were just talking about it, so you could buy it, are using AIs to implicate advertising to whatever you were talking about.
So in this book, Dataclysm, it clearly outlines. So the guy that wrote the book, Dataclysm, he was one of the original creators of OkCupid, right? And he was the guy on the back end that was doing the data, right? So all he was doing is crunching numbers and looking at it. And then from there, in this book, is clearly outlined. So Google and Facebook will know exactly what you like, what you don't like. It's from your searches. Every single every single thumbs up gives them data. Okay. Gives them data to where to value this information that's trending, right? If the information is trending, you're gonna show up. Higher up, just like we just did with our channel, right? We had to kind of search for it a little bit, right? Because it's not trending yet, right? So if it starts trending, it's gonna start showing up, and it also will start showing up if YouTube decides our podcast is going to lean this way or that way. They're going to promote this to people that are watching that kind of context or hating on that kind of context, right? So it's gonna show up there. So it's all about how data molds your opinion. So if that's what it's all about, if part of this data is for somebody to come out and say one thing or another thing, right? But to get canceled for something that you didn't do, right? That is wrong in my opinion. You should be able, when you have that much influence, billions and billions of people, you literally influence what people do on daily basis. Literally, there are people that are stuck on Instagram with their likes and followers.
So what do you want out of this? Like, or do you think that the people that have that much influence, like you're saying, should be evaluated differently, better?
I think there should be a little more centrist rather than being to the left or to the right. They should be a little more in the center, where this data is not only being used for malicious intent. It's actually being used to promote something better in society. That's what I think you should do. This is when you have a lot of influence. This is what you should do with your influence. Not rely on this opinion or that opinion to try to push agenda left or right, but be more centrist and provide, here, there's the data. This is this side and this is this side. You decide what you think to do with it.
But you can go back and say you decide what platform you're going to watch. Same thing. If one platform wants to promote one thing and the other platform wants to promote another, you can decide which platform you want to watch.
And this is the problem, right?
People people who've been canceled like incorrectly, let's say, like they just got canceled because somebody decided to report them, more than likely they can get their accounts back. The ones who are being canceled completely and not getting their accounts back is because they're going against what that platform in an entirety of the platform disagrees with.
So when you're open Discord, right, such as Facebook, such as Instagram, such any kind of social media, such as YouTube, you're opening an open Discord. You given a platform for people to talk, right? But
they're still private entities.
Yes, but that's the only platforms we have.
Yeah, but each platform leans a different way. So if one platform leans away you don't want to, then don't post on that platform.
Not necessarily. There's Rumble, for example, that doesn't censor anything, which I don't agree with either, because a white nationalist can go on Rumble and say something dumb, and yet they get to be there, right? Under the whole freedom of speech, right? But they're actually calling for violence. I don't agree with that. Like, anytime you're calling for violence, I don't agree with that. However, what I don't agree with is I feel hurt, thus this is against me. I feel, listen, what you're feeling and in reality is happening are two completely different things.
Okay, but a lot of these people who have been actually canceled, not just canceled momentarily and then got their account back,
Yeah.
have promoted some type of harm.
Well, it depends who you ask. That's again my point. It depends who you ask.
Well, I mean, it depends who you ask when you're talking about like white nationalists, right?
Well, there's a very small majority of white nationalists. 'Cause I think the world is pretty clear that the guy with the name H is a bad guy, right? That created the genocide throughout the 1940s, right? Like everybody kind of agrees that this guy is a scum, and multiply that by 1,000 times. Like we kind of agree on that. But if somebody goes out there and says, listen, for example, let's even take Andrew Tate, right? Like if he goes up there and says, well, I need to have some sort of authority over my woman if she's my woman, right? And he gets canceled because of that, I think that's wrong. Because he's not promoting violence towards women by saying I have authority over my girl. Like if you don't have authority, then that's just slavery, right?
Well, here's the thing. If he's promoting it if you're promoting authority in a sense of in your relationship and I'm trying to figure out how to word this before I keep talking.
One.
Sorry, I'm saying like the way you say it.
One day
The
later.
way, not just the way you say it, how drastic you're going about it. Because saying authority over a person is almost like saying control.
So again, that's how it makes
there's
you
a
feel.
big difference. No, there's a big difference between authority and respect.
Yes. So in authority, which a lot of people, the reason I say this because a lot of people have seen that clip of him saying authority. However, a lot of people haven't seen what he said 10 minutes before and 10 minutes after. All they did watch a 30-second clip.
Which he does on purpose to get the views.
Correct. But
so he's promoting that bad 30-second clip to get the views. Even if he doesn't believe it. Even let's say that he
correct.
really
So my
doesn't
point
feel
is-
that way.
my point
he is
is-
still promoting that 30 seconds.
My point is, so if this is misinformation, right? If this is misinformation and he shouldn't come out in that light, then he shouldn't be getting canceled by that. Which in reality, this is misinformation. So if you're promoting a 30-second clip, right? That doesn't give you the context of the information, just gives you that's considered misinformation in my
But
because
he
you're
was
basing your
doing that
opinions on
on
that 30-second
purpose.
clip. It doesn't matter whether he's doing it on purpose
Yes,
or not.
it does. He is purposely, maliciously,
It's not maliciously. Well,
Okay.
what's the malicious on that?
what he's
where's the malicious in
promoting.
that?
What he wants to be seen is those 30 seconds
No, he
to
doesn't
get
wanna,
to be able to get the
he
rest of the
doesn't
views, right?
wanna- Listen, this is
He's promoting. He's saying something malicious, purposely promoting something.
He's saying something that
he
gets
knows-
people emotional about. That's what he does.
Okay,
And
he's
plays a
purposely
character.
playing on people's emotions with
Correct.
something malicious,
Correct.
like saying
Because
he has
knows
authority over
people-
women. That is promoting that malicious thought. He's
Well,
saying it on
no,
purpose.
the malicious thought comes in her head. He didn't promote with any malicious thought.
He's saying that to purposely play with people's emotions. So he's maliciously using those 30 seconds to get his views.
Okay, but I mean,
So let me ask you a question.
As a rational human
Let
being,
me
you
ask
should
you
be
a
able to
question.
sit down and rationalize.
So I don't know
this,
if I'm
right?
going to word this correctly or the way I want it to word. I don't know if I'm going to word it correctly. But so the guidelines that platforms have, right? Why do you think they have those guidelines? So that people don't get like offended or anything like that? Do you think that has anything to do with it?
Yes.
Okay, so that 30-second clip that's offending people, you're saying you don't think it should be taken off when you just said that they have certain guidelines so people don't get offended. So if people are getting offended by the 30-second clip, do you not think it should be taken down?
The clip, yes. You take down the
Okay.
clip. Don't take down the whole what he's got created, because besides the 30-second clip, he has an hour-long speeches or podcasts that you can listen to, right? That explain that 30-second clip. This is what
Okay,
I'm trying to
but
say.
with or without the explanation, if it's still getting people, I guess, emotionally riled up.
So that this is where you as a human should take the accountability and say, I'm a rational creature. I've lived to be this old and I didn't die until now because I've made some sort of a proper choices and my genetics played well for me. This is why I'm still alive, right? So you should be able to sit down and rationalize. This 30-second clip that I saw okay, this is a little bit offensive, but let me go watch the full content and I understand what is he talking about prior to making my own opinions about this. Again, right? And so we know if you want this long content to be viewed, now we're going to have to clip this up and put it out there to rile up. What's his name? Andrew, or what's his name?
Alex, right?
Huh?
Or are you talking about
The troll.
the dude that's commenting?
Yeah.
Alex, right?
Alex.
He
to
just
get
talked
Alex
about-
riled up and his incel brothers to get riled up,
Yeah.
so they can start sharing, so it drives content to our full length video.
He just put up Tate held women against their will. There are charges against him and his brother.
Yeah, well, if that happened, he deserves to be in jail. So we don't know right now what happened. So,
He said that you voted for Trump too.
well, Alex voted for trolls. I mean, what can I say? It is what it is. I mean, somebody likes troll shit and somebody likes something else. I mean, I guess it is a choice, right? Alex has a choice to do what he wants to do. It is what
Who
it
do you
is.
think he voted for?
Who, Alex?
Yeah.
I think he's just, I don't think he can vote. I don't think he even has a voter's card.
I was gonna say something like Bernie.
No,
no,
I
he
don't
just
think he has
cut
a
it.
voter's card. He votes for trolls. That's what he
Then
does.
we got someone saying, should R. Kelly have been canceled?
Yeah.
R. Kelly, isn't that the dude
Yeah.
that was pissing on people?
No, he was singing that. Yeah, he was singing that. He was singing about it. I don't know if he did it or not. I don't know much about R.
Hashtag
Kelly.
free
But
R. Kelly.
I don't know much about R. Kelly. But
No,
he did,
we are not about hashtag free
Yeah,
R.
but
Kelly. No,
R.
we are not about that.
R. Kelly got canceled because didn't he have sexual relations with a minor?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was about to say.
Yeah,
isn't
he
he
should
a
get
pedo?
canceled for that 100%.
Isn't that he peed on the little girl?
I don't know what the fuck it is.
I heard
He
something
got
that
like
he
50
peed.
charges on
I
it.
did. I heard something
I
about
heard
how
that
he
part.
peed, but all I know is that it's about a minor,
Yeah. That's what he got canceled.
and that's
for.
all we need to hear.
Yeah. That's what he got canceled for, and I think he went to jail for it, right? I don't know if.
Yeah.
Well,
he
let's ask our resident troll. Hey, Alex, did he go to jail for that? So
I think he might have went to jail, but maybe not prison.
so he ended up in prison, right?
What's that next topic?
Who is that, Alex?
No,
Oh, he lost
I'm
again.
saying, what's the next topic?
Oh, okay.
This
I
was-
thought Alex was
He
crying.
said something funny earlier. He was talking about that when he said that he was just, it's not his point of view, that it was like the books that he read about it, and then he was like, he just promoting the incel view room chats or something like that.
Oh, I see. I know what you're talking about.
No.
What's your next topic, bro?
Immigration.
Immigration. That's that in a room full of immigrants.
We all come from a boat, bro.
We all came from a boat or plane.
Even if we didn't, our ancestors did.
Our parents did, not even ancestors.
Yeah.
Parents.
It's not gonna go that far
Yeah, I
back.
don't think it goes that far.
Immigration. So go.
2 generations
So
back.
what's your like
So what
controversy?
are your thoughts about immigration? Let's just throw the topic out there, and then I'll go more in depth
Okay.
questions.
So it's kind of hard, right? Because you have in your certain countries that you don't have the rights that a human should have, or at least that we believe, right?
Yeah,
That a
Western world
human should
believes, yeah.
have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
And
we
hold,
have
hold
countries
that, hold
like
that thought, because I want to come back on that. Some other countries that don't have, but go ahead.
yeah, no. And then we have countries like ours that are countries that are more than likely sought after. You know,
Yes,
most people aren't
100%.
looking to leave America unless they're trying to escape from something.
Yeah,
And-
this is the best place to live. Yeah, hands down.
I don't think it's necessarily the best.
For you to have to have opportunities and things you can do.
If
in
you're
my
trying to
opinion.
start from the bottom, I think so.
Yes.
Yes, like you have zero,
Yeah.
and you need to get up there. You're
Yeah.
trying
Just
to,
hustle and you make it.
yeah, I think you can do that here in America.
Yeah. Or if you don't make it, you at least go to sleep
But
knowing that you did everything you
it's-
could, just didn't work out. So,
it's
yeah.
hard. You can't really just say, "Hey, I'm gonna let everybody in the country."
Okay.
But at the same time,
Go a little deeper into that.
exactly. I'm not gonna let everybody in the country, but at the same time, it's hard to say, okay, well, I don't want to let nobody in. Well, then we wouldn't have America what it is now, which is the mixing pot that it is. And a lot of the greatest things we have here, and the reason we are like we are, is because we have all these immigrants that come here. We wouldn't know. None of us would fucking be here. Not a single one of us here. The 4 people behind the camera wouldn't be here either.
Yeah.
The
So-
5 people outside, none of us.
Yeah,
If
no, I get it. So when it comes to immigration, I do agree with you. You know, there's I think it's called H1 visa or something like that, where basically if you're an extraordinary person from a different country, a company can call you in and you can work for them and then eventually get citizenship, right? Like a lot of the foreign athletes can do that, so on and so forth, right? Now the immigration part that I also agree with is like you can't let everybody in, right? But the discord here is like, how do you control that, right? Like how do you decide who gets to come and stay, who doesn't? And then another thing here is whether the people that came illegally, are they allowed to stay, right? Because some states like California, no, it's not necessarily, I'm just going to put it in layman's terms in a very simple way, allows immigrants to vote, right? So this is what I'm talking about. The illegal immigration versus legal immigration, following the rules.
I think it should depend on the state of your country.
On the state of your country? What do you mean?
Yes. So, for example, here in America, we're at a state where we can take immigrants in certain places, and we need immigrants in certain places to do certain kind of jobs. Because believe it or not,
that's 100% true.
Certain Americans really just want to do certain kinds of jobs.
That's 100% true. So Colombia just instituted United States just instituted a new rule for Colombia, and they did this. I think it was right after World War II or in the 70s. I don't remember exactly, but they instituted a new rule where you as a if you're within a service industry, you starting 2023 some month, you can actually have there's special visas for you to agriculture and service industry such as hotels, motels. You can get employees from Colombia that come to work here because they can't find employees to do the job, right? Like nobody wants to go and pick strawberries, right?
So back to what I was saying though, but other countries maybe aren't in the same state or don't have the same problems, or maybe they have a problem where they have too many people, not enough food, and things like this. And nobody's going to be looking to immigrate there, but when maybe you have a country that's dealing with a problem like that, but the next door neighbor, the problem's even worse. So, for example, like where my parents come from, where my blood is from, Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic necessarily isn't the best country in the world, but it's not the worst. But then it has, I'm sad to say, one of the worst countries in the world right next to it, which is Haiti. And there's that big problem with that there, immigration and stuff. It's kind of like Dominicans fight with Haitians, kind of like how Americans want to complain to Mexicans about taking jobs and money and stuff like that. Well,
let's start with Haitians. I mean, Haitians...
But it's way more valid.
Because
Dominicans already are suffering.
So Haiti is not doing super well, to the point where they pretty much destroyed their natural forestry and trees. They pretty much chopped all this down and they sold it for money, right? Without any care for the country, so on and so forth. So my question here
dug their own hole.
Yeah, so my question here is, if these people do not care about their own country, why would you want to let them into your own country, right?
Well,
now, if
the art doesn't let them in.
If they're extraordinarily smart and they're doing something to advance the society, then if their knowledge that can be used to advance our society, our country, then yeah, invite them definitely over, because we need that type of a talent.
What I was trying to get to, what my explanation was trying to get to, is I believe that countries like the U.S., Canada, UK, or UK,
Western
country.
world. Just say Western world.
No, not only Western world, but countries that aren't considered third world countries.
Yeah. What about
that are thriving? Because even in places like Japan, you can be. Well,
that's not really third world. Don't
I know. It's not third world.
That one is a little more complicated.
But I'm saying that even as the son of a poor man, you can become rich. You can.
Where?
It is.
Where?
In Japan.
Yes, you can.
In Japan. And most people don't know that.
That's called Western world, though. Japan is one of the top countries in the world.
Anyways, what I'm trying to get to, damn, you made me lose my train of thought.
My bad. My bad.
Damn, I lost it all.
Anyway, so let me get back to when you said, in some countries people...
Some countries should help, sorry. There you go.
Some countries should help.
I believe some countries need to implicate more help to help countries like DR and Haiti be able to stay within their own country and make their own selves better.
Some countries should help.
So they don't have to necessarily say, we're inviting you over, but we want to help you so you can stay there.
So would you say it's like a earth tax? Every country has to put in some tax, and then that tax money can be used towards those countries?
That would be interesting. That would be very interesting. Countries that reach a certain GDP or GDP.
A tax bracket.
Set it up kind of like in a tax bracket per person.
Yeah.
And if you're below that, you can get
so okay, that's
you're gonna have countries on EBT.
So you put on a country EBT?
Yeah, basically. I
So,
think that
okay,
should
so
be.
how?
I think
Okay,
that
so
would be helpful.
here's the thing.
Now, I think it would be abused.
So thank you. So how would you? Let's say a United States, a rich country, decides to give X
It
amount of
wouldn't
money
work
to
in
Haiti.
reality.
It
just wouldn't work in
reality.
reality.
So that
It's a
wouldn't
good
work.
idea, but it's not good in practice.
Correct. Just like
That-
communism, it's a good idea. It just
It's
doesn't work.
Doesn't work in practice. Exactly.
Correct. So the
I mean, almost all of the political ideas you look at, and you're like, all right, and then you see it play out, like, oh shit.
yeah. Again,
Almost every single one.
remember that book I told you about, Thinking Fast and Slow?
Yeah.
That's literally talks about the irrationality of humans, right? There's another one called Misbehaving. If you're ever interested in that, behavioral economics, you can go read those too. They're
Free the
super-
Mexican people, absolutely, Arthur.
So what I'm trying to say now, you mentioned something about they don't have the same rights in their country as they do now. Now we all know soccer championship was in Qatar, right? So soccer championship was going out in Qatar. Yet the Qatar, the FIFA organization and specifically people that live in Qatar and the ones that are running the country
Saying
got,
they couldn't drink, man.
well, they got pretty much shunned for not speaking for LGBTQ rights. What does LGBTQ rights have to do with soccer?
Absolutely nothing.
Yet there are a bunch of people out there protesting FIFA because they were not promoting that. See what I mean? So this is what happens. Every time you help a country.
So you're saying that I agree with what you're saying, and that it was wrong that they were downed for not promoting something that is in the political controversy currently and what's viewed as the right side.
Yeah,
which is stupid. It's very stupid.
So the bottom line is when a country goes in and then tries to help another country, they're gonna want some sort of authority over the country, right? Back to that word, authority over the country, right? So they're gonna try to dictate what they want them to do. Now, if they're not able to implement this authority, then it's just slavery, which means you and I, when we wake up in the morning, earn our money, pay taxes, earn our money and pay taxes. These taxes go out to someone that does whatever the hell they want with this money, right? So hence the whole idea of authority. So if I have authority, if I'm going to work and work hard and do something, I should have some sort of authority to what happens with this, right? So FIFA has zero authority in Qatar, right? They have zero authority in Qatar. They went to Qatar. Qatar hosted the games. They did what they were supposed to do. They created their stadiums. They collected the trash. They housed all these people. But yet these people wanted to push authority on Qatar to promote LGBTQ. Now, don't get me wrong.
Something that in a country like that
there's
is not
nothing
viewed
wrong
correctly.
with LGBTQT alphabet, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
XYZ, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. You should be able to do whatever you want to do. However, I don't want you to shove that down my throat or down somebody else's throat. Now, it doesn't matter whether I believe, support, or not support, right? It's just your right to live, be happy, and exist. That's it.
I have a weird view on that, man.
Say it. Say it, bro.
I believe it's I believe that it's your right. And I'll stop there. I don't want to.
Yeah, it is your right to do whatever
I
you want to do.
believe it's your right, but is it right? No.
No, I mean, is it right or not right? I don't think of it in a sense. Yeah, it's difficult to say because it's only like
I think
4% of the society, right?
I believe that it is your right, and I don't say that it's right or wrong. I do think that it's not right to not to push it on people, but let's talk about like elementary schools, right? Like when you go to an elementary school, I don't want, when I have children, I don't want to have to teach my 6-year-old what sex is.
Gay,
period.
Like how they're having
So
gay
let
Disney
alone-
gay and transgender Disney characters.
See, that's a little iffy because I
No,
feel like
that's not iffy. I don't want my 4-year-old being like, why is he liking the boys?
I don't want my 4-year-old to be thinking why he likes who anyways. he or
Exactly.
she.
You're right. They
He or
shouldn't.
she.
They shouldn't be
But-
thinking why I like he or she anyways. But by putting that kind of content of saying he's gay or straight in general in the Disney show is making that prerogative. Oh, if you know what they should do? You know what Disney should say? If they say, is they gay or straight? the character don't like nothing.
I agree with that. With Disney, that's how it should be. It shouldn't be a straight or gay thing. When you're coming to 6-year-olds and 5-year-olds.
Now, of course,
what I do see,
in
think,
shows you have families and a father and a
okay.
mother, but that's just what.
But I do see where they do it for inclusion, as far as people who are experiencing confusion, being able to say, "Oh man, okay, maybe I'm not so weird. Maybe there isn't something wrong with me."
Okay.
That's fine.
This
but
is my
we're talking
prerogative.
But I don't think that it should be included
This
in
is my-
Disney.
this is
I
my-
don't think that it should be included in elementary schools.
This is my prerogative. I believe that you should have the right to be attracted and do whatever you want with whoever you want.
100%.
Now, what do I think is right? I think it's right if you want to be attracted and still do whoever you want with whoever you want. But how does the world work? A man and a female get together to have kids, to have more kids, and to have more of us. What I'm trying to say is that as a female or a male, as a male per se, I want to have fuck dudes. Cool, I want to fuck dudes. But at the end of the day,
What you trying to say, Eddie? Pause.
Pause, right? Pause.
No,
but
no,
at the end of the day, what
don't
should I
pause it.
really do? What? Yeah, I know. Pause. What should I really do? If I want to, at the end of my life, I should have kids. And how do I have kids? Is by getting with a woman.
That's true. No, that's fine. But
I feel like this topic's a bit wishy-washy.
Here's the thing.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. You want to make it complicated, and it's not more complicated.
It is complicated.
It really fucking
because
isn't.
It plays down to.
Okay, yes, that's what you want, and you can
No,
do what you want. But at the end of the day, how do we have more humans? Is by men and women getting together.
Obviously. But it plays down to, unfortunately.
I would love
it's
for you to
not
convince me
rational.
otherwise.
It's not a rational thing. It is human emotion, and it comes down to one wanting to make sure as a human that we're not inflicting harm on other humans
100%.
one way or the other.
100%.
And sometimes when you're so closed off to what is right or wrong, you're starting to inflict harm on those who what you view as not right feel as how they are.
Well, So I can see what he's saying, and I can see what you're saying. I know where you're going with this. Here's the thing. We have to look at this in numbers, right? We can't just look at this how I feel about this or I don't feel about this. We have to look at this in numbers. 4% of the society, in general, 4% of the society is one way or another way, right? So 4% of the society are narcissists. 4% of the society are sociopaths. 4% of society have borderline personality disorders, right? 4% of the society.
That's a fat generalism.
4% of the society also is gay, right? Or LGBTQ, right? So when you take 4% of the society, and 4% of the society is trying to enforce a certain way of living for the rest of the 96% of the society, I think this is where the problems start happening, right? So, again, they have all the rights to have a wonderful and happy life like I do, right? Now, no one should go out there and tell them, you're wrong, you shouldn't be doing this, this is that. You can do whatever
agree.
you want to do.
I think that's why
I
there's
agree
so much
1,000%.
pushback. I 100% agree that nobody should be enforcing it on somebody else or trying to shove it down anybody else's throat. But I feel like that community as a whole has felt like they've been pushed down and suppressed so much that the only way that they're ever going to get anywhere where maybe it's a neutral stance, how we wish it would be. I mean, obviously, I think most humans think, other than like extreme, let's say Christianity or extremely religious people, most humans want other humans to be able to just do what they want to do without hurting the other human, right?
Yeah,
Which
again,
is why I think they can do whatever they
4%,
want.
Exactly.
4% of the society are radical. So it's basically you're taking this end of the stick that says this thing, and the other opposite end of the stick. They're exactly the same people, right? Like these are advocating for one thing, and these are advocating for another thing. Nobody's coming to the middle and asking the middle what y'all want to do.
I think the middle would agree with the fact that nobody wants to harm anybody else.
Well, that's just what I'm trying to say. The reason the reason gay marriages are normal is because majority of society is okay with that. This wouldn't be normal if majority of society didn't say we're okay with that. So majority, I think, already has accepted with the gay marriages being legal. Majority of society has accepted homosexuality. They have.
Yeah.
They have. Now the problem here is when you come in and say I want more rights than somebody else that deserves.
I don't think
Now,
they're asking for more rights. They're asking for equal rights. And
Equal rights.
are they reaching that? I think they have in the last few years. But I think that's the thing is they are reaching that in the last few years. So all of those people who didn't have that before are still having to feel like they have to fight for it.
So then
and they do still have to. I feel like they still have to continue to fight to be able to stay at an equal level. Because if not, it will go back.
It won't go back. Pendulum never swings back.
I think it
There's
will.
never-
I think there is the possibility.
It didn't.
I think Roe versus Wade proves that we
It
can't
didn't.
revert back to.
Those are rules, but the way the society accepts something or doesn't accept something, right?
Okay, but part of their equality is the rules. So
Part of society is rules.
yeah,
Correct.
So if
So
if rules are
The
swinging
societal
back,
norms. I'm not talking about the rules. I'm talking
and
about
those people
societal
who
norms.
are making those rules, who are enforcing those rules, are the people we've elected. That shows politically that we have elected people who have reverted back, who are making it revert back.
Well, no,
Just like
it
Roe versus
didn't-
Wade.
It didn't
And
revert back. It just
if-
gave the right to individual states. Which,
Okay, so if
with
we go back,
everything
what if
else,
we do that with gay marriage? What if we give the right to individual states with gay marriage?
They can do
Now
that
you're
with
taking
individual
away-
states with gay marriage because at the end of the day, when there's some sort of a budget, it's given to, let's say, Texas, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina. South Carolina gets to decide themselves how they want to spend their budget. So states have authority within their state to do the way they feel is correct or they think is correct for the people that live within that state. This is why those rights of the states are. So if one state decides, I want gay marriages and I want abortions, they should have that. If the majority votes on that, they should have that. This is why we're called United States, not United One Country, right? It's United States because these states have their own rights and regulations. They have their own constitution, and they go and abide by that constitution. So again, for example, in Florida, you can do the abortion and you can do gay marriages because majority of Florida is okay with that. Majority of Florida is okay with that. Now, is it Mississippi that's okay? Is in boonies
I
is
agree with
okay?
you're saying.
When there's there's some
But-
smart people there, but there's also dumb
essentially-
people there as well.
Something borderline, like not borderline because I don't believe
But
it's
you're-
borderline,
you-
but it is in the society, in the view of societal norms. Like abortion, you should, I guess, have the right if you as a, like, for example, say me as a man, if I'm a guy who, if I believe I get a girl pregnant even on accident, I don't believe she should have an abortion. Maybe I should move to a state where that's not where it's not allowed because I don't want that to happen.
That's an option that not everybody has.
Yeah, correct. But guess what? The world is not an equal place.
Yeah,
the world is not the world. The world
That's when,
is not.
like, we were talking about
Disney
help
fairy
across
tale.
the world, like stuff like that,
No.
immigration.
So-
that's where I was thinking, like,
But
you know,
that's
you
what
just
I
can't
think.
help
If
everybody. You
you're-
just can't.
No, you can't help everybody, and it sucks, right? World isn't perfect,
Correct.
but
And this is why we're having this conversation because
if you
want
give
to
it
get to some
to
sort
the
of a
state, if the United States, the part that the full government,
Mhm.
not each state, the federal government, if the federal government is now taking back what they once did, the pendulum is swinging backwards.
But see, this is the thing. Federal government took this back, but the abortions are not going to stop. Abortions are going to continue. Birth control is going to continue because, again, do you guys know how this whole abortion thing started to begin with? With
Yeah.
eugenics, right? And everybody kind of knows what's eugenics, right?
You explain that, yeah.
Yeah. So
Tuesday.
the whole
Well, they
idea
weren't here
of
Tuesday.
this was to eradicate United States of what this racist lady thought is bad for the society, right?
Yes, but I
Now,
think it's
and-
moved past that.
Correct. So what I'm saying is the pendulum has swung. It's not going to go back. It is not, and it shouldn't. It should, the way it is, it should continue going forward. Right?
But by reversing Roe versus Wade, even though
So
you go
it
back,
went down to
you-
individual states, and people that live within that state get to decide what their rules should be. Because that's the thing, we elect. I like if I don't like Florida right now, I am within my right to get up and leave Florida, go to a different state, and live in a different state, right? But I don't do it because I'm okay in being in Florida. I like the way Florida rules are. Somebody from California might not like Florida rules, and they live in California. That's the bottom line. So can you make everybody happy? No. Should you strive for as much equality as possible? Yes. Can you reach 100% equality? No. There's always going to be that 4% of society that's going to say, I don't like this. And that 4% of society should not decide for the rest of the 96% what to do. It's just simple math. 2 + 2 is 4.
I absolutely agree.
So this is what I'm saying. Like, again, rights, everybody has the same rights, and that can do, like, as of right now, I can't think of a single right that I have that a gay person might not.
Well, in certain states, you just can't have marriage. That's
Well, I don't know if that's true or not. I
yeah.
don't know.
What do you mean? There's still states that you can't get married in. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
1,000% sure.
Okay,
of it.
so in some of those states, they don't have the same right, right?
Yeah.
So then most likely I would suggest maybe if you can move to a different state. I'm sure there are states like California that will help you with that, you know? And they're usually pretty liberal and very socialistic when it comes to that.
Yeah, and I'm sure they
Jay,
can.
Alex is trying to fact check you too.
Alex been trying
That's
to
what
fact check me
trying to
this
read,
whole
but-
Alex been trying to fact check me this whole time, except he didn't come out with a single
He
fact.
said eugenics was invented by Sir Francis Galton, not a woman.
That's fine, but they were racists. Look up eugenics, my friend. They were racists. They try to eradicate African Americans from a United States society. If they didn't do that, right now African Americans represent 15% of the United States society. If they didn't do that, they would be 50%. These are numbers. There's nothing you can say about that. I don't know what is he trying to argue. Again, Alex, go get some education, bro. You sound stupid right now. So the bottom line is, okay, and another thing, if you want to know, there's this book, it's called Freakonomics. Stephen Levitt wrote about this. He was in, I think, University of Chicago. He saw that there's a big shift between crime that happened in 70s versus crime that happened in 80s. The crime levels went down, and he didn't know why it was like that. So he started doing his research, and especially in African American communities, the crime level went down. So he was trying to figure out why this happened, right? So he took one of it. He's white, so he couldn't go into the ghettos because obviously, you know, if you've been oppressed by white people, if you go in the ghetto, they're gonna take it out on you most likely, and I wouldn't blame him for one bit, you know. So he took one of his Indian students that was darker in complexion, and he went out to the ghettos. He knocked door by door, collected a bunch of data, and then they cross-referenced this with different states, such as Mississippi, so on and so forth. Then it came down to because in the 70s, that's when abortion became legal, right? Because of the clinics being in those areas, which these racists actually did what they wanted to do, right? And with the single mother homes, the single mothers that did have abortions, which eventually resulted in crime going down because a lot of these kids didn't grow up on a block selling drugs, doing this or doing that.
June 26, 2015, the U.S. Supreme Court legalized it in all 50 states.
There we go. So there you go. So there's no
Same-sex marriage legalized
there
in
you
all
go.
50
So
states.
same-sex marriage is legal in every single state. Now,
And that's really the only...
Are you gonna have a bigot neighbor that's gonna say you shouldn't get married? Yes. But are you gonna have another neighbor that's gonna say, hell yeah, and I'll be your best man or your best woman at your wedding? Yes. That's the bottom line.
And it's more of like one neighbor
this
on
is
the
a
whole
right.
block
This
is
is a-
going to be like
this
that.
is a simple
Unless
human
you're in
right.
like the Boondocks, like my boy in Tennessee, and all those guys are all not going to like a black person or a faggot. Oh.
Yeah. Don't say that, bro.
You just got canceled.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
you
cancel
can
now.
cancel. So the whole idea of this is like, you know, this is a human right. Being able to marry the person that you love, regardless of their sex, is your right. You should do that. But don't try to shove it down somebody else's throat, right?
Yeah,
Again, am I for gay marriages? 100%. You should be able to do whatever you want to do, but let me decide when I want to talk to my kids about that.
I totally agree with that. What I'm trying to say is not that they should shove it down. Anybody should shove anything, any belief down anybody's throat. What I'm trying to say is some of the things that people are perceiving as being shoved down my throat are just those people trying to show that how they act, what they do doesn't make them a bad person.
So
So
what you're suggesting is what's called a communitarian society, which is in general that's something that women usually tend to sway towards. Communitarian society, which means, let's say if we have some food, a little bit for you, Becky, a little bit for you, Jackie, 2 for you because you're pregnant, 1 for you. Where in men society, because see, this is our thinking, it's completely different, right? We're more a hierarchical society where you say, okay, well, you went out there, you busted your ass and you got this food, you get this much food, which is a big portion.
I don't think,
and then
I
you
think
guys
you're-
are sitting down doing nothing, you get a little bit of food. This is what's called communitarian society versus hierarchical society, right?
I think you're missing my point completely. My point is the reason that people feel that it's being shoved down their throats. It's not that most. I can't say but it's not that most people from those communities want to shove it down their throat. Is that they want representation in little things, so that when that little kid who doesn't know how they're feeling because their hormones are off balance or they were just born that way, doesn't feel like, oh, there's something wrong with me. They want that little kid to have some type of representation.
Listen, little kids every day think there's something wrong with them.
I understand that, but you can.
This is part of society. It's the same thing as going and saying you should. So it's somebody like me, or somebody, let's say a guy that is broke, doesn't do anything, lives in his mom's basement, right? Wears a dirty shirt, plays video games all day long, doesn't do absolutely shit, and then going out there and saying, I deserve a Victoria's Secret model. We should make this legal. Or a guy that's 5'2", 5'1", that doesn't know how to play basketball says, I should be drafted by basketball.
No. What we're saying is...
So this is going to happen.
What I'm trying to say is it's not about somebody expecting something more than what they've earned. It's about somebody being able to feel, and I keep saying this, it goes back to human feelings.
Feelings, correct.
Okay.
Not what the world is.
It goes back, well, I mean, the world is run by humans, so feelings.
Yeah, but they're
have to
not run
impact.
by feelings. They're run by rules that are created by logical rules that at one point or a time they're considered logical, and then if they're not logical, they get overturned. So my problem is this, that a lot of feelings now
Other parts of the world run by dictatorship or
they are
monarchy.
Yeah, but we're not talking about a lot of the parts of the world. We're talking about the well-developed world where we live in, right? So what I'm talking about is feelings a lot of times override what the actual real society is doing. Again, I feel I should be a basketball player, or no, I don't even know how to hold a basketball. I feel I should be a basketball player. I feel I should be a trillionaire or a billionaire. I feel that way. But am I going to, because I feel, no, it doesn't work that way. Just because you feel.
Again, you're going to the extreme. I'm talking about that.
How is that an extreme?
So
it's about feeling.
When you're talking about your feeling thing, usually like how because I was born a boy, but I feel like a girl, I want to turn to a girl. And
No,
then be recognized
not
as a girl.
even that.
No.
So if
saying
that's what they want to be, then they should be a girl, right? If there's a boy, there should be a girl, right? If it's not a gender euphoria, which a lot of people like to throw that around, it's a gender euphoria. Now, I'm not really convinced about that. Like gender euphoria, maybe not. Now, evolutionary, is that a shoot off of evolution? Yes. Like that, that bloodline would never continue, just like you said, right? If it stays that way, that bloodline would not continue. So is this a genetic difference within a norm? Yes, 100%. And the reason it's like that, because we went from, with creation of antibiotics, we went from 1 billion people to 8 billion people within 70 years. You're going to have these genetic differences that do occur, right? And you're going to introduce a lot more birth defects, so on and so forth, right? These things happen. You can't stop evolution, nor you can stop nature. It is what it is, right? It's the same thing as me saying I feel like I am a cat, or I feel like I'm a dog.
I know what you're saying,
know-
but
you know,
my point is literally going whoop over your head.
No, okay.
No, it's not. It's
It-
not. I
it-
get
Look,
it.
you're
I
not-
get it.
He
you're-
gets
you're
what
not
you're
understanding the
he gets
point
what
of
you're
what-
saying, but because what you feel doesn't change what is.
Yes, and when the
That's
kid
all
says,
he's saying.
what the kid
We
doesn't
understand you-
doesn't feel.
We
it-
understand
this
that
is
you
the
want
parents'
you
job.
feel like that
This is the
computer should
parents'
float.
job to maybe I hate to say it, but at this point maybe homeschool, because he is kind of that kid is the minority, right? Within the majority, right? Again, that's the 4% of the society. Maybe they can homeschool. That's
so should
one
every
idea.
Latino
Maybe,
kid be homeschooled?
Why? Why would every Latino do?
Because we're the minority.
That's not what I'm trying to say. Every Latino kid doesn't want to be a girl or a boy, gets confused by that. We're talking about confusion about confusion about they're not knowing what's going on with
As
them.
a kid who came from a Latino home where
Yeah.
English was not the first
Yeah.
my first language.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is, but it wasn't at the time. Let's say.
Kids made fun of you because you had an accent.
No, the school went out of its way to put me in a class where
Mm-hmm.
I was able to kind of catch up.
No, that's okay.
So my point is, why can't the schools do the same for those children?
Because there were probably more Latino kids that needed the same type of a treatment as you, versus just one or two children that might have this.
We're gonna have to
not
wrap
when
it
I
up.
was in elementary
Gotta
school.
wrap it up soon, so get your points across.
Not when I was in elementary school.
So-
in elementary school here in Florida,
All I'm
at my
saying is-
age, there was 3 of us.
All I'm saying is for the parents to decide, for an individual parent to decide what that kid is going through, seek help. If they don't understand this, seek professional help. And then once they seek professional help, ask for guidance how to do that. Not by me or you going out there or saying, this should be accepted or this should not be
But
accepted.
that guidance
because
needs
I
to be
feel that way.
available.
Huh?
That guidance needs to be available.
Correct. But that guidance doesn't say. The
How do you
guidance
how do
doesn't
you
say.
how do you put it out there that guidance isn't available without shoving it down somebody's throat?
Without shoving it, saying this guidance is available to the parents. Hey, listen, parents, this guidance is available to you.
Okay,
In case
but-
your kid is feeling this way, please call this number. That's it. That's all there is to it.
But that is what they're trying to achieve, and people are taking it.
Well,
as
then that's not
it's
what they're
being
trying to achieve.
Shoved down my throat.
That's not what's being achieved. What they're trying to do is explain gay or regular sex to a 6-year-old.
Wrong.
Gay or regular sex.
Wrong. That's so wrong. You shouldn't be doing that in general, 6-year-old.
That's
I mean,
what I'm trying to say.
But again,
So
when
the
we
school
started
should give you a little pamphlet maybe with a phone number that says, listen, if your kid has some sort of things and you have some questions, here's a number to call that will provide you with help.
I could agree to that. I think that would be totally helpful.
Yeah.
Problem is, a lot of parents are going to receive that, and then they're going to be like, the school is promoting whatever's on that pamphlet.
They had the
The
choice
school
to
is
move their
not
kid.
promoting anything at that
Pay
point.
for private school.
The school is not promoting anything.
Move,
This is part of the
rezone.
guidelines. You're taking your kid to the school. This is part of the guidelines. If you have these questions, here's the number. Now, it's up to individual parent to decide. Now, are there bigot parents that will not accept their kids that are gay? 100%. But are there ones that will? 100%. Again, this is world. We'll live in it. World is
Alright.
not fair or equal.
We
That's
got to
it.
wap it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right, well-
Good
appreciate
night.
y'all for tuning in.
Yeah, and Alex, good job, bro. I hope to see you again. Hit a like button. Don't be a troll.
Yeah, you
Or
better-
can
you
continue
hit at
hitting
least like it,
Hit the damn
Alex.
like button, bro. If you continue hitting the like button, you can come out here and comment nonsense. We can always
Hey.
reply back to you and tell you how wrong you are. So
You can-
hit the like button.
You can
and
refer
subscribe.
Jay. You can refer to Alex, by the way, as Mr. Moon.
Mr. Moon.
Mr. Moon. That's Moon Bouncer.
So much sense now.
That is Mr. Moon Bouncer.
I figured. I had a feeling because that's the only one I don't know his actual name.
They all subscribe.
And Mr.
See y'all later.
Constellation, hit that damn subscribe button, all right? And hit that like button. See y'all later.